Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ceejay Scott Podcast via Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is episode 16. You already know myself, and I got the co-host. Coach, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
Nothing much, man, but we're not going to hold you all up. We got a special guest coming on tonight that I know personally, and you know, he's gonna come on here. He's gonna share his his story. He's a former football player for the University of Harding, and he's gonna share his story as far as him being in Pop Warner in his early days, all the way up until him graduating at the University of Harding. So, also before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video. If you're watching it on Facebook and Twitter as well, make sure you like the video as well. But again, without further ado, we're going to introduce our special guest right now. To my family, y'all know him. To some of the people who know him at the University of Harding, and to the state of Arkansas. Without further ado, let's bring on Ahmad Scott.
What's going on?
What's going on, bro?
Nothing much. How y'all doing?
All right, what's going on, young brother?
Nothing much.
We're doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah.
Much appreciative of you sharing some time with us this evening.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me, man.
No doubt.
No problem. But Ahmad, we got to take it way back a little bit, way back to your days in Pop Warner, because that's when I first saw you play with the VHS recording. Back then, that's what we had.
Yeah.
But, your mom sending my family the tapes of you playing in Pop Warner. We were just amazed by the things that you were doing on the field. So if you can remember that far back, explain to us as far as your experience, if you can remember far back going through all that, as far as your playing and what you remember the most about it.
Yeah, man. The first thing I remember about all that is I remember my mom and I were sitting in the kitchen. We had moved to Arkansas, sitting in the kitchen, and I just kind of went through one of those activity magazines, and it basically just told you different things to do, like karate, basketball, football, that. And so I was like, Mom, I want to do football. So she ended up signing me up for one of the teams out in Arkansas. I think my first team was the Titans. She ended up signing me up for the team after that, and then since then, I fell in love with the game, and so
football life.
Yeah, just fell in love with it from a young age, and so I was dedicated to balling.
How old were you at that time?
Oh man, I was probably like 8 or 9, I think.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Got that itch early.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And so got a taste of it, and then I was like, man, I want to keep doing this.
So, quick question. You said you had just moved to Arkansas. Were you born and raised, or did you come from where are you originally from?
Chicago. So yeah, I was born in Chicago. Yeah, then we moved to Arkansas, and that's where I was raised at. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
No,
any interesting Pop Warner pre-high school stories?
Yeah, man. Let's see. I had some crazy stories, of like everyone in Little League, like 5 touchdowns in the game, things like that, and then just playing everything, offense, defense. I was even a kicker. I was our kicker throughout my while I was playing for the Titans. Then I ended up playing for a different team. But yeah, man, it was fun times, man. It's doing a lot.
Quote unquote football at its purest, as they say.
Yep, playing everything.
Okay, now you said as far as you playing everything, now was that your choice or was that the coach's choice?
That was a coach's choice. But yeah, once he gave me a taste of it, I was like, I want to keep doing it. But yeah, that was my coach's choice. The first thing is they actually put me at running back, from Chicago. Had a little speed back then, and then from Chicago, and so and obviously Walter Payton, that was the biggest guy, basically running back out of Chicago, and so he put me at running back, and I actually wore Walter Payton's number. That was my number. when I
Oh,
first started out.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Did they hit you with one of the nicknames like "What's up, Chi-Town," Windy City or something? Since you was the kid from not a local kid from the area, they hit you with any of them nicknames?
Yeah, I mean, it was different nicknames, yeah, like that. But I mean, it was a big name, big shoes to fill. But it was Walter Payton. I'm like,
Right,
at the time, I knew who he was, but didn't really know until I
right,
got older. I was like, oh man, they put that on me. That
right.
yeah.
Okay. I know you were really young at the time because I'm always interested in the people who move from different locations, especially Arkansas being considered as the South. Did you
Yeah.
notice anything at that age that was different about just the landscape of maybe how Arkansas treated football? Like we played football in Chicago, but up until more recently, is not like people think of Chicago as being a basketball
Yeah,
city.
definitely. Yeah.
So was Arkansas? I'm not sure if you were from a bigger town or a small town. Where was it like how we think about the South, like Texas and Florida, where football is right next to church and God and all that other stuff, or was it a little more even keeled in Arkansas?
It was definitely bigger than Chicago, but it's big in Arkansas, but it's not like Texas or Florida. Texas
Okay,
and Florida, they're on a separate level
right,
when it comes to that. But yeah, Arkansas was definitely big. But like I said, it's levels to it, and Texas, they eat, breathe, sleep football, and so. But yeah, it was definitely bigger than coming from Chicago. Like you said, everyone's playing basketball there.
right.
Mhm.
Okay,
No, Mike, I was gonna ask you this. As far as we hear kids all the time and guys all the time coming up wanting to go play high school with their friends. We've heard the stories time and
Yeah,
time again. Like if you got this guy who's talented in this area of let's say Arkansas, of course, and then you have another guy who may be from North Arkansas.
yeah.
Have you ever encountered have any friends that, hey, I want to go join up with you at this high school, or I want to go play with you at this place? Have you ever encountered that with anybody that you play football with coming up?
No, actually, so I mean, really, honestly, it was just the people who I went to school with. So my school it actually wasn't a big school. I mean, um, football I mean, was big, but it wasn't like big. And so it was basically, just growing up and just with the people that I went to like middle school and then the people from the high school. So no one really like came and joined up. Although one of my best friends, he moved from Florida to play with
okay.
us. And so, but it wasn't like, oh, I knew him before he got here or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I yeah, my brother went to college in Arkansas. He went to UAPB to play baseball for
Okay.
about 3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So geographically, where were you located? Because the only cities I could think of in Arkansas, of course, Little Rock. I know Texarkana because it's a city that is like borders Texas and Arkansas, and obviously UAPB. I forgot what part of Arkansas that is, but it's a smaller town. What part of Arkansas did you play high school ball in?
So I played high school ball it was in a city called Sherwood. If you don't really know much about Arkansas, the next biggest city would be North Little Rock or like Little Rock. But yeah, it
Oh,
was a
okay.
school in Sherwood that I played at. It was Seven Hills High School.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So I'm always also interested in the how football is played in other states. So when you got to high school, was it just straight up JV varsity? Was it a really small school to where you only had the numbers to play just varsity? So everyone freshman through senior was on a varsity roster. Did they have different levels, or how was that level the football structure when you got to high school?
Yeah, for us, we actually so you had a ninth grade team, and then we had a JV team, but then also you had varsity.
Okay, so you had like 3 levels:
Yeah,
freshman, JV. Okay, that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
So
It's a
yeah,
little
we had
different.
3 levels, and then but JV could bump up and play varsity.
Right.
But yeah, it was basically so we had our ninth grade team, which obviously just ninth grade, and then there was the JV, and then varsity.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when you walked in, you're already kind of have made a name for yourself at the youth level. Was it some form of, hey, we got this kid coming up from the Pop Warner ranks and we kind of like him. We want to quote unquote either fast track him, see if he's ready for varsity at the time, or did he kind of just smooth you in, or they just treated you like another incoming freshman? It was just like, you're a freshman, you played ninth grade ball, and then you got to earn your stripes. How was it entering high school for you?
Yeah, so basically like that. So freshman, coming in, earning your stripes. And actually our freshman team was pretty good. We had a lot of talent, like guys on that. But then so freshman, we made a name for ourselves as freshmen. And then sophomore years, then basically where some of us, it was kind of like, okay, this guy can play. So, we'll even though we saw a little bit of time on the field sophomore year, but it was definitely certain ones of us that were like those sophomores, that could be playing at the varsity
level. Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, as far as now, did you play running back in high school or no?
Oh no, and so no. Grew up. I was playing running back, but I actually played receiver. I played receiver in high school. That was in a return man. I did
all
that
4
as well,
years.
Yeah, I was a receiver. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it the offense you ran since you kind of transitioned from one position to another? They're similar skill position. Was it a run heavy type of school? Where was it run heavy? You just were like, hey, you based on your skill set and your size, or they were like, hey, why don't you just try being like a slot receiver? Or was it a pass heavy where most of your slot receivers, or was your scat backs, as we used to call them, would play slot receiver? What kind of offense did you kind of run in your high school that made you convert kind of from one position to the other?
Yeah, so we're basically we was a spread. So we basically ran spread, and then I played slot receiver, and then like I said, my buddy from Florida, he came in and he actually played running back. He was a really good running back. So we're in the spread, and so we definitely passed a lot. We passed a lot, but we ran a lot as well. So we spread it out a lot while playing. And then obviously a lot of jet sweeps and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was what level of? Oh, sorry, it's a two-part question. How many levels are there in Arkansas football, and what level was the school that you attended?
Oh, I think it changed not too long ago, but I want to say I think 7 or 8 was the highest.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, it was the highest. I think there was an 8A. I honestly don't remember, but we started at I think 6, but then bumped down to 5. Yeah.
Okay, that's still kind of
7 to 6. One of those. But I think it was 6, and then we bumped down to 5.
So still a decent sized school. Anything?
Yeah.
If you got even 7 divisions of football in any state, if you were kind of like that 5-6 area, you're only a few hundred from either being higher or lower based on population size. So that's what's up. But you all had some fairly good competition at that level. You've seen a lot of good competition at that mid-tier level. So what put you on the map as a varsity player? Did it come your freshman year and some scrap time, or did it come sophomore year when you're a little more established and you found your way, or did you kind of late bloom? Like me personally, I kind of late bloomed. I didn't really hit the scene until my senior year. Mm-hmm. So when was your breakout game or breakout pattern of games where they were like, okay, this kid is a legit varsity player and he's a legit guy for us. He's our go-to guy. What grade were you in, and what game was it?
I would say so. Probably when they first were like, okay, this guy can play receiver. Freshman year. Okay, so freshman year, was out there balling, doing what I needed to do. But then sophomore year is when we got up there with the seniors. We had to. I think at that time our starting quarterback, I think he was a junior or senior, and so we used to do 7-on-7 camps and things like that. We have summer practice, and then basically during that summer I was at the catching a lot, just catching whatever he was throwing, was catching it for the most part. And then so he basically, I still remember he kind of went to coach and he was like, I want that guy, let's and then. And so, but that was before the season. Still didn't play a lot that season, as a sophomore. But still, I can still remember him telling coach, hey, put him in, let's get him some reps. You know,
Hey, that's
yeah,
always love when you can get the varsity quarterback who's an
yeah,
upperclassman
yeah,
showing you like, hey man, we got something with this kid. I kind of like him. I like his potential. That's always
yeah,
a huge kudos that doesn't happen very often, but when it
yeah,
does, it does give you that inner confidence. Like, hey, I could do it at this level.
yeah.
So that's what's up.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, it was definitely a confidence booster because, like I said, freshman year we had a lot of guys, on our team that was pretty good, and so then, like I said, going that summer, we're out there with the older guys. It's obviously it's a little, intimidating. You playing with the, like I think a lot of the receiver guys that were like juniors and seniors, and so you playing with them, and then, as we all think we should be out there, but y'all gotta wait your time. A lot of time,
Right.
so. But yeah, I still just vividly remember him. We was under summer practice. I don't even know how I started getting reps. We were just going through reps, and I think I just caught a couple of balls that were a little difficult, and then he was kind of like, "Hey, let's try to get him in a rotation." I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
I think what it comes from is how you play the game. If you
yeah,
play it with a intensity, you play it hard, and every time you give it 100% on every play. I
mm-hmm.
think that's where that comes from. And I always tell people, hey, somebody's watching you. You never
Yeah,
know who's watching you, so always go 100% if you can.
for sure, definitely."
You play with it since you were coming up to varsity. Any of those juniors or seniors, any of them had any potential at the next level as far as college? Staying in state, maybe going to playing for the Razorbacks or one of the small level schools like Central Arkansas or anything like that.
Yeah, so the quarterback I was telling you about, he was actually a really good baseball athlete as well, and so
Baseball's really big in Arkansas. I know
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah, he was a really good
huge.
baseball athlete. So he ended up going. I actually think he went to college for football, but he ended up playing baseball.
Oh, okay.
And then we had a couple other guys, yeah, who went to some smaller schools, in the area.
Local.
Yeah, local when I was sophomore. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. So
Mhm.
your school, I mean, also being a good sized school, you also had some athletes who were good enough. It seems like you went to a really good program to where you guys were kind of producing enough talent that no matter what level, whether it was Division 1 or all the way to NAI, you had enough guys that were moving through the system, cycling through, getting some offers and stuff like that. So that always bodes well for that inner confidence. Like I played with, saying, as you're coming up the level, saying, hey,
Yeah,
I played with some guys who are at this level, so that gives me that hope, or gives you
yeah,
that hope that hey, I can do it too. I could perhaps, if football is my goal, I could go to the next level playing, because if I can hang with these guys in practice and they balling out in the game, then of course, and they'll give me that confidence in my
sure,
upcoming year. So that's always
definitely,
productive.
definitely for sure.
So what was your? Go ahead, CJ.
No, I was gonna move on to Ahmad's recruiting process because as you mentioned, those guys going to the schools they went to. What schools were interested in you going within that process after your senior year?
So honestly, I didn't have, yeah, I didn't have a lot of schools actually interested in me. So I ended up, so the school I went to, Harding, they actually were recruiting one of my best friends, actually two of my best friends who I ended up going to Harding with. And so at that time, like I said, I wasn't heavily recruited, so I ended up sending my film out to them, and so then they started recruiting me after that. But then also in the same conference, I was being recruited by OBU, Washington Baptist, which is in our conference. They ended up being one of the good schools in our conference as well. And then Henderson State was one. And then also we had a school called SAU, Southern Arkansas, ended up. So basically, so mine was mainly just like those Division II schools kind of in that conference. But then I ended up just going to a couple of counts, which was pretty good. I ended up going to Arkansas, and I ended up going to Ole Miss camps, and actually
Oh,
did
okay.
okay. Yeah, did okay at those camps. Walked in to those camps, and like I said, ended up doing okay, but eventually ended up doing because I could have did like preferred walk on,
Walk
but
on. Okay.
yeah, correct. But then ended up doing uh, basically a package deal. It was me and my two buddies. We ended up going to Harding. Plus, it was close to home, and we wanted to stay together, and so we ended up doing.
We haven't gone into this. What's your setup? What's your height and weight when you were coming out?
Man, when I was coming out, I was 5'8". I came out of high school, I was like 162.
Oh, okay.
Soaking wet. Yeah, I was small. Coming out of high school, I was pretty small. I was playing a lot of sports and stuff as well. So I mean, I was really just known for just running. Just
Right.
getting the ball and going. But yeah, I was maybe 165 on a good day coming out of high school.
Any track in there before? Any track that helped out with the speed in high
Yeah,
school?
yeah, I did track. So I was mainly 100, 200. Ran the 400. Wasn't my race, but
All
they
right,
kind of
hey
put me out
man,
there.
hey man,
Put me out
400
there
ain't
to
no
do
joke.
it.
The
Yeah,
400 ain't no joke.
exactly. That's why I'm like,
I'm
it's not my
6'2".
race.
That last 100 is a dog, man.
Man, I'm like, this ain't my race, but coach like, hey, go run a 400. I'm like, all right, whatever.
And I
And
was
then relay 4x1, and then I also
okay.
triple jump and long jump.
Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, you legit athlete because I know I wasn't built for the one.
yeah,
I didn't run the one at all in high school.
yeah.
I ran it once in college. So I was like, yeah, I ain't built. It take too much for me to build up to. So I ran the 2, and then
Yeah.
in indoor I ran the 4, but outdoor, man, that outdoor 400 is no joke.
It's no, really. Then you add in that 4. So I think it was freshman year, maybe we were doing like the 4x400, and I'm like,
Right.
man. But at least that was towards the end of the day, so
Right.
it wasn't
The
as
last
high.
event.
Yeah, last.
That's like the show. That's low key in high school and in college. The 4x4 relay is the main event at the track meet. That's like that ends it all.
Yep. Everybody's out there too. You got adrenaline pumping. I'm like,
Yeah.
run this race, but I'm like, whatever. Yeah.
Hey, that 400 that still ain't no joke, man.
No, man.
I feel
When I
you.
see people run it, Olympics and stuff, I'm like, man.
And them times they be putting on, I'll be like, "Whoo, Lord, I would nowhere near that."
Yeah.
Nowhere near that.
I'm gonna say salute to y'all because I ain't getting on no track. My thing was basketball. I wasn't messing around with that track.
No.
That's crazy, man.
Sometimes it's a byproduct of playing football. I know I didn't even run track until my senior year of high school, just because I was like, I ain't playing baseball in college. I knew I was playing football, so I was like, I need to get faster. So track was kind of my avenue. In retrospect, I wish I would have ran track all 4 years. It probably would have set me up a whole lot different, like I did for you. Like you being 102, that means you got speed if you run it competitively at that level, even at the high school level. If you placing or going downstate. So, CJ, want to move on to
I was
college?
I was going to ask you one more question. Now, you said that it was pretty much a package deal between you and your friends as far as going to Harding. Was there any other school that was heavily like wanting you to go there? Then at the last maybe moment, a second, you just say, you know what, forget it, I'm gonna just go to Harding.
Man, so the funny thing is, like I said, I think it was a visit. I think OBU was playing Henderson, and we went on a visit. Right, and so it was all 3 of us, and I still laugh about it when I think about it. We all were at the game, and we honestly ended up leaving just before the game was over with, and then just like we're going hard. We were watching the game, it was like, nah, we all gonna go to Harden, and so, but they made us pay a couple times in college when they beat us, Henderson and OBU.
Yeah, now I'm a pity back off of that. Now was it something in particular? Because I actually seen Henderson play when they played you guys, moving on later on. But was there something in particular that you guys just didn't like? Was it a formation? Was it, the play calling? Like, what was it? Just like, no, it's not for us.
Man, I don't know. It just seemed like, granted, the weather wasn't great. I'm pretty sure it was like raining and it wasn't. And so we were just like, no, man, we just don't want to be here. The athletes weren't like bad, but it just wasn't a good game. And so, which is, when I think about it, I was like kind of crazy that we based it off, how the game was going on if we wanted to go there. And so, and like I said, we all knew, big part of it, we all 3 of us wanted to go to school together. And so that played a big role in what school we ended up going to.
Okay. Well, all right. Now, as far as you going into Harding next, now, did you go in your freshman year, or because we know that some athletes go in their first year, sometimes they get redshirted. Explain that process, as far as with that.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I was redshirted. I came in redshirted. And actually when I got there, we ended up playing, we're in a triple option. We were running a triple option. I think they were actually in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were in the spread or something like that before. To be honest, I kind of thought I was going to the spread, but we ended up going there. But I was redshirted my freshman year.
Yeah, because I remember that when I first started watching you play, I remember you guys were like in a three, like in a
Yeah,
spread or a type of three running back type of formation. Like
yeah,
it was one like a slot, left slot back here, right slot back here, and like
correct.
another
Yep,
one out of the middle. So that was
yep.
the first time I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, this is different.
I know that
Yeah,
was the
This is
first.
that
kind of
Yeah,
that triple option wing T is it's when you're a bigger guy. Like I know, I didn't want anything that was wings. I was like, man, because you know you gonna block a lot.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know you. But I mean, you being a smaller guy, even you want to play that slide. At least you got the kind of the shape of a wing back, which is
yeah,
nothing really. But if you do the wing backs, ain't nothing but a slot receiver any doggone
yeah,
way.
yeah,
So
for
the
sure.
potential is there for you still to get some handoffs, some counters, or
Yep,
some jet sweeps and stuff like that.
yep,
That's what's
yep.
up. So so you said there was a lot of local schools that you were in the same within the same conference that were recruiting you. How it being the Division 2 level, correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, do the did the rules still apply with the 5 official visits? Did you take all your official visits? Did you happen to visit besides the camp? Did you visit any school out of the state of Arkansas? And yeah, so those are my 2 questions.
Honestly, I don't even back then. I'm pretty sure. I think the official visit rules were the same, but no, actually, out of state. The only thing other than like camps, like you said, so the only thing out of state was really Ole Miss. Ole
Okay,
Miss camp. But then I actually ended up going also to. I just remembered this to University of Central Arkansas. I ended up going to their camp as well. I ended up going
okay,
there as well. But yeah, basically, so Hardin was really like the only official like visit. And because like I
okay,
said, all three of us were like super close in high school, and we were kind of like, oh, he's offering all three of us, so let's go. And honestly, I mean, I didn't really consider other options.
okay. So you kind of, I mean, you had a mind. You was with you got your guys, so got to
Yeah,
commend you for that.
yeah,
Um, so I know we wanted to also talk about your academics. I know we're already kind of into your college career. You sitting out a year. You leaving high school. Going into college. Is Harding considered kind of an academic school? Is it a mixture of academic and athletic, or So I know obviously I don't believe that getting into the school academically was an issue for you.
uh-huh,
Uh,
yeah. So,
so
oh my bad. Go ahead.
No. So yeah. So what kind of school is Harding? Is it just a regular 4 year liberal arts type university, or what kind of
Yeah. So
school is it?
Hardin's it's a private university, but yeah, it's definitely it's known for like academics. It is a good academic school. Like I said, it is a private university, and so um, yeah, Hardin has started to get more known for sports. I will say, kind of around the time we were there, and like afterwards, Hardin has started to progress, and kind of move further along. Now, don't get me wrong. Before that, it was definitely we had it was some great athletes that came before us as
Right.
well. But Hardin kind of like was known, like say, like academic is private school academic, and then it ended up. But now sports are definitely getting higher up there on the list for
Right.
sure.
Okay. Did you
yeah.
know what you wanted to major in when you entered entered college, or were you just like, hey, I got good grades, I don't know what I want to do, or were you
Yeah.
kind of set and kind of like, hey, I want to do this thing, and that's what I'm going to aim academically for when I get to school?
Yeah, so I really didn't know, to be honest. It was kind of like because I was going to school on a academic and a athletic scholarship, so I was kind of like go big or go home. I don't really know what I want to do, so I actually ended up choosing nursing because I was like, hey, I want
Oh,
to give back, help out family and things like that. I ended up choosing nursing initially, but then after that I changed like multiple times to different things, and I mean, it wasn't it. So actually, the funny thing is, actually not really funny, but a good thing. My head football coach basically put me on the path that I'm on now. Being a PA because freshman year, or actually getting ready for sophomore year, he's like, hey. I know your major is nursing. It's just gonna be kind of tough because with nursing you got to do we have to do clinicals, and that was like in Little Rock, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away. So that's gonna cut into football. And he was kind of like, hey, we want you to play, here on scholarship and things. So yeah, not really change your major, but hey, like basically saying
yeah,
like,
that wink,
yeah,
and
exactly.
And that, what's really interesting is I've heard that from Division I athletes, especially the guys who are super academic, and that's kind of sometimes that's an unfortunate thing. Like guys who go to school for engineering or those programs, if those classes are later in the afternoon during practice, they kind of want you kind of to lean away from those more difficult majors unless you're just super dedicated to the major. And I tell people all the time, it's like if you ever look at the Division I roster, it's a whole bunch of sociology and communication majors.
No lie. So I ended up but then so I actually spoke with my counselor, my like the guidance academic counselor.
Right. Academic advisor.
She said, advisor. She's like, no, you can do it. People do it all the time. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna still try it. And then so I did it, and then coach brought me in again. He's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, coach, my counselor said I can do it, and then he was like, man, it's gonna be tough because we had it was funny because the only other guy I know that was doing it ended up quitting football to do nursing. So it was kind of like, okay,
they put you in that bind, like especially unfortunately at the Division II level, it's you're going there because you want to play football, obviously, but statistically Division II don't often statistically translate. So a lot of guys have to make that decision, like, am I still dedicated to the game, or am I going to start kind of foreseeing my future in my post football career? And it becomes that, hey, I love the game, but I got to do what's best for me outside of this, because when the game is over, what do I have to show for it? So I've experienced that from people that I know who have played at various levels. So it's that it becomes dicey, depending on your level of what you want to do right now compared to what you want to do in the future. So that's what's up.
It was definitely it was like that, and so, but I knew I wasn't gonna like give up football. Like I was just like, coach, I don't really know what I want to do.
Right.
So he kind of just like, hey, have you ever heard of PA or physician assistant? I was like, no. I mean, I've never heard of it. He's like, hey, you should look into it. The good thing is you don't have to miss any like football because you get an undergrad degree, and so then PA school would be a grad school, so you can I can do that after I got done playing football.
Exactly.
So I ended up looking into that and going like the exercise science route. Ended up getting a degree in exercise science, and then
At least he looked at. At least he didn't push you to. Hey, why don't you come do the sociology? Like
he knew. Coach knew. He knew I was also. I wanted to like. I was like big on my grades too.
Right.
He knew.
That's what's up.
So
That's what's
he
up.
was just like, hey, look into this. And so, I mean, I still like when people ask me that question, I'm like, yeah, honestly, it was my college football coach who basically the reason why I'm a PA, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
And that's that's good that he actually looked out for you, because you don't hear too many college coaches that usually would go tell a player like, yo, even though you can choose to do this, I recommend you looking into this. It'll probably help you out with both. So.
Yeah,
right.
He definitely steered me in the right direction, because I was kind of like, man, I don't know what I want to do. Like, to be honest, like most college students, nobody really know what you want, especially at like sophomore, like freshman and sophomore. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna address these comments real quick before we move on. Seen a couple comments in here, even though one was early in the show. This is Frank Marshall saying, "What's up, CJ Chef and A Scott? We appreciate you, Frank. If you're still watching the podcast, appreciate you coming through."
What's going on, Frank?
This comment right here is actually from my mother. So,
hey, auntie.
She's the first. This is her first time doing this, so I'm actually kind of shocked that she was able to pull that off, because my mom is not the best person when it comes to computers and all that. So, but
that CJ, that's your mom's?
Yeah, that's my mother.
Oh, hey, moms, what's good? Hope everything's all right.
So, hey, mom, thanks for stopping by.
You was in our thoughts and minds not too long ago, even today. Mm-hmm. Glad you tuned in today.
As always, and mom, I appreciate you always, and I'll get a chance to talk to you later. But yeah, that's my mother. But moving on to now, the fact that when you started playing, we know that you redshirted your freshman year, and then you came back your sophomore year. And I remember that you were playing behind, I may not remember some of the guys' name, but I remember one in particular was Jeremy Holt. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, you played behind him.
Yeah.
I know he was 2 years ahead of you at that
Yeah.
time. So what was that like? You actually getting time to play on the field, not as much time, but actually seeing the offense how it was run. And was he a person that kind of showed you on what possibility, what it can look like as far as you getting that time when you got the chance to?
Yeah, definitely, man. Jay Holt, he was everybody. If you know Jay Holt, you know he was the man. He was an athlete. Like Jay Holt would get that ball, and he was, he'll be out of there. And so, yeah, definitely, being able to sit back, and actually kind of learn from Jay Holt, just kind of watch some of the things he did, and actually even a couple of plays be able to be on the field with them, which is actually really good. But yeah, it was nice because always like I said, even in high school, like we want to play, you want to be on the field, but it's one of those things where it's like slow down, kind of learn, do what you got to do, learn from the people in front of you to be able to get out there. But yeah, no, it was definitely a good thing to be able to sit back and just watch Jay Holt work.
Okay. So,
Now, go ahead, D.
No, I was just gonna ask the question I asked about high school. Like, what was your breakout? What was that breakout? I can do it at this level game. What was the game where you're in college and you have that self confidence? But what was the game where you like, okay, this lets me know that my decision to come here was right. The coach's faith in me was right. I can do it at this level, at this next level. I can do it here. What was that game that gave you, that was like, I've made it?
Yeah, I would say. I actually remember it was actually my sophomore year. The game was actually playing OBU, one of the teams I told you we went and watched to play, and then we ended up leaving the game. We're playing them. I ended up getting in, and then first carry he tossed it to me. I ended up breaking for like 50 yards. Yeah. And so then I was kind of like, okay,
yeah.
I'm like, okay,
this is nice.
Yeah, this is nice. And then I got another carry, and then I ended up breaking that for like 30 something. So I had like 2 carries for 80 something yards, and I was kind of
86 yards, I think.
Yeah, I had, and I was kind of like, man, okay, this feels good because the reason why that felt good is because I actually got in on kickoff return like a couple games before that, and I caught and fumbled it. Like I fumbled my first time, first time getting it on kick return. Fumbled it, right? And so then I'm by the sideline, and then coach kind of brought me to the side. He's like, just let that go out of bounds. Because, it would have been a penalty the other way because he was kicking it out of bounds, but, you're eager. You're trying to get the ball, dropped it.
Trying to make a play, yeah.
Trying to make a play, dropped it. And then I was at that was the moment where I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not playing no more. First time I'm getting it, on kickoff return. And then he grabbed me. He's like, hey, don't get down on yourself. Be ready. Then couple plays later, got in and I got the ball, but that was a different game. But I was like, man, because like I said, the whole time I'm thinking like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm like, first time you get in and get a kick return, fumble it.
That confidence to be fleeting when your opportunities are limited. When they limited, you think every mistake is like, I ain't gonna never see the field again.
Yeah, right. Every second. I still remember. I remember being on the sideline on at a home game, dropped it right there, and like I said, it was the longest walk to the sideline when I was already on the sideline.
You feel like it's an 80-man roster. You feel like you're the only person. Everybody looking at you.
Only one. Right. That's the only person I really saw. My head coach. He walking through there. Yeah, I see him, and I'm like, my head down. I'm like, I'm done. Put his hand on my shoulder pads. He's like, well, just let it go out. Why'd you even touch it? And then I was like, dang, I'm done. Then he was like, be ready. And so then he put me back in, and then I got, like I said, I carried the ball a couple of times, couple of first downs. I was like, okay, and that helps you. So that's a good thing about coaching, because it's like when you got a player like that, he messes up or something like that, and you're like, okay, let's help build that confidence back. And so he put me back in and gave me the ball. I was like, when he put me, I'm like, I'm not getting the ball, but at least I'm in the game. And so gave it to me. I was like, okay, that was a relief.
The type of coach you have, and them talking to you or kind of knowing the player you are, whether if it's tough love or that guy's like, hey, you can do this, or if it's a guy like, hey, more of an assertive type of coach, but the coach kind of knowing
exactly,
because a lot of time coaches are so set in their way of how they communicate, that they communicate to every player the same way. And obviously, people say, "Oh, treat everyone the same on the team," but the reality is you can't. You can't. In all reality, playing and being a coach, you can't treat the best player on your roster like you do the not the worst, but the least productive player. Jimmy Johnson said it. He was like, if Troy Aikman falls asleep in meetings, I go nudge Troy and say, "Hey, Troy, wake up." But if it's the special teams linebacker, he falls asleep in meetings, he don't have the luxury. He getting cut. You can't treat everybody the same. It's just not how it works. That's not the dynamic of that lifestyle of what you're doing. So, having a coach that could actually talk to you and get to a message to you differently, unless he was just a relaxed coach in general, is good to keep your confidence and be able to say, "Hey, we still believe in you. You can do this. You just gotta focus and keep your head on right." And that's what's up.
Yeah, Coach Chuck, he's pretty relaxed, but Coach Chuck, he'll turn up if he needed to.
Right.
he'll let you know, if you needed to. But no, Coach Chuck, man, great coach, man, really great coach.
Okay. CJ, you got anything?
Yeah, now going into your junior season, actually when you started, was a starter. You wore the number 4. I know you got something behind that number, so why don't you tell us what it is?
Man, yeah, I wore 4 because Devin Hester. Yeah, that's why I ended up,
after
Miami
you
and all that. Yeah, Miami. So that's why I ended up wearing 4. Like I actually wanted it my sophomore year, but one of my good friends, he was wearing it and he was not trying to give it up, and so I ended up wearing that 4. Devin Hester, man.
In college, them single digits when you were underclassmen, they just give you one.
Yep.
You don't want to let that go in college, man.
Yeah,
I remember my freshman year, because you enter coming freshman, you like, okay, they're gonna prioritize the guys they recruited more highly, and I didn't get to pick my number. I think I got number 3. I was like, I ain't never let this go. Like I'm a freshman.
You can't.
I'm a freshman getting number 3.
Yeah.
All day, every day, rocking this.
No, yeah. I really wanted. I ended up going with 12, which I mean, my sophomore year, which is cool. But then, junior year, I was able to get that 4. I was like, okay, let's go. We ready?
Time to roll.
I'm not gonna try to pronounce this. I know who this is. Hey, cousin, what's going on? But I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. He got
Erlito.
Yeah, that's what up, Earl.
Yeah, that's for some who don't know, that's Ahmad's brother.
It's my brother.
Oh, okay. Mo fam in the chat. That's what's up.
Tuning in, showing love. I appreciate.
Hit that like. We need the algorithm. Hit that like. Hit that like.
For sure, most definitely. Now, Ahmad, going off of the subject a little bit. Recently we all know that Devin Hester was trying to get into the Hall of Fame, and unfortunately he did not get into the Hall of Fame. And I just want to know what was your feelings on that? Because I know you was, that was a person that you analyzed as far as in the NFL and watching play. So what was your thoughts on that?
Man, I thought that was going to be a no-brainer, to be honest. I thought that was going to be a no-brainer. And so, it affected me because, honestly, like, in college, it was 2 people who I watched, well, kind of 3 who I watched the most. Devin Hester was probably the number 1. Like, before games, I would always be watching Devin Hester. So that was when they intercepted him, I'm like, man, what's going on? Like, arguably the best returner. We know, everyone.
No, he's the best returner in NFL history. I think it's because it's so unprecedented for a guy who, because he's a specialist, and unfortunately, although in football community we know that special teams is a key part, but it's not seen as a consistent every down type of position. I think Devin's going to get in eventually, but I didn't think he would be first ballot just because. It's like, I'm not trying to compare, but like the first kicker, like, the kickers, Ray Guy, punters, or guys like that. Typically, those guys are not first ballot. You say those for the quarterback, linebacker, immediate impact type players. And since he was more of a specialist than a DB and or receiver, I say he, depending on the class the next 2 years, I see him getting in the next 2 classes. He gonna get in when everybody say you the best at a specialized position. You gonna get in.
Definitely.
Yeah, because my whole take on it was that when you have a guy who just changes the game entirely, you gotta give them flowers for that. You gotta give them flowers for that. And I just felt like he didn't get it based on what they're used to seeing. You know,
Yeah.
they're used to giving, the guys who excel, whether they were Super Bowl champions, whether they put up the numbers, but Devin's numbers speak for himself.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have a guy that changed the game at that time, you're not going to see that. He's
And,
that one player
and his
in
peak,
every generation
man,
that you're not going to see.
his peak is like, punt return was like, me and CJ, we remember watching Dion, but even Dion only scored like maybe a punt a year. But he was so good that even the 15-yard punt return looked amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you had a guy who came out, I think he scored like 3 or 4 combination of punt, kickoff, rookie year, plus the kickoff to open up Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like that was something that I had never seen anybody do. Like we kind of have more guys doing a little bit now. And even remember being a Bears fan, the year prior we had Nathan Batch who returned like a missed field goal for like 99 or some 90 yard, and then Nathan
yards.
when they got and then like the very next year they drafted Devin. He wasn't ready to be the DB at the time, and they after before midseason, even before that the Cardinals game, he had returned. I think he returned one against the Packers. And it was another one, and then of course the Giants and everything. But but let alone that Cardinal game was like,
yeah.
The
I remember all of them.
Yeah,
I used to watch that video every week when I was in college. I used to watch Devin Hester's like the video, like all the returns, and I can tell you like what was finna happen on the next one. I mean, that was Devin Hester was my guy.
A guy recruited initially to play at the U. He was actually recruited first to play receiver. He was one of the top receivers in the state of Florida.
Yeah, he was different.
Yeah,
what we got here?
Definitely. Now, Ahmad, going into your junior season, as I was trying to mention before we got off track a little bit, going into your junior season, how was that? As far as preparing you to play in that spot. Like, did the coach tell you, like, okay, when you because I remember you actually came to my house. I think that season before you actually started, and we were, doing the weight training and all that. Now, when you went back, did your coach tell you, like, hey, you're gonna start this year? What was that process?
Yeah, it was kind of that season, that's the summer before and all that. Yeah, I mean, it was a grind. I mean, obviously we had to work for it and all that. But then I ended up being in that role because the people before me actually, like my sophomore year, it was obviously like Jay Holt, and then it was like 2 other seniors. Then it was another guy, but he actually ended up transferring. So it was kind of it was kind of I still worked for it, but it was kind of like I mean you're sliding into this that spot.
As long as you don't let no underclassmen take your job.
Oh yeah,
you got it.
Definitely. Yeah. We had some good ones, but I mean it was. We had to work. I always had to work for it for sure.
So you said you came in kind of a package deal with you and 2 of your boys.
Yep.
Now, how did their experience? Was their experience similar to yours? I don't know what positions they played, but was it, or did maybe one of your homeboys was like, man, college football is not what I thought it was? Did he leave, transfer, drop out, or whatever? Or did you all stay for the full grind? All 4 years.
You can shout him out if you want to, man.
I shut him out definitely. My boy Devontae Britt and my boy Julian Bronner. But yeah, so 2 of us stayed to full 4. It was me and Devontae. We ended up staying. Juju actually ended up leaving. But he ended up having a couple of injuries, and so that kind of also hurt him as well.
Yeah.
Devontae had a couple injuries as well. Juju ended up leaving. I think it was our maybe sophomore year. But Vontae and I, we were still there.
Those injuries can affect. Yeah, those injuries can really affect your psyche.
Yeah,
especially when you. Yeah. Oh, especially when you come with your boys. Like it's too. I've seen guys who, if you're alone, not alone because you're from the state of Arkansas essentially.
Yeah.
When you're by yourself, it's one thing. It's like, okay, when that package deal and I'm not saying it happened, but subconsciously you'd be like, oh man, my boys are killing it, and I still support them, but it's not going well for me. Whether it be like the injury route is kind of like, okay, now you have to reevaluate. Do I still want to do this? Yeah. Am I going to take a different route? Am I just going to go to school? Am I going to go back home or whatever those things are? So that's always a very interesting dynamic because I tell you, the only thing worse It's never bad because you see that happen at all levels. NAIA, D2, 3, 1, whatever. Guys coming kind of in package deals. I think the worst thing I've ever seen a guy come to college for or transfer out for was like a girlfriend. Like I tell, when I coached high school, I was like, don't never go to college.
No,
I don't care if it's a guy going for a girl going for a guy. That never turns out right. Never. I've seen guys literally transfer in the middle of the school year. Oh, my girlfriend goes, like, I went to school in Iowa. My girlfriend goes to Iowa State. I'm like, what that have to do with you? What you doing? Like, you can visit, like.
Yeah. I see people turn down scholarships. Crazy. Because I'm like, man, I guess it was kind of different for me, though, because I'm like, man, I, like, love, like, football. Like, I, like, love it. And so it was different for me. So I'm like, I'm going to do what I got to do to, to ball.
Right.
And so. But I mean, I guess it's different if some people, if you don't just like have that passion and love it like that, then it's kind of.
You find whatever little reason to,
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel you on that. That's what's up. That at least, two of you stayed. Still, even your homeboy who decided to leave, y'all still cool. So that's always good.
Yeah. No, most definitely.
That's always a good thing.
Now, your junior season, going into that real quick. Now, I forgot what you guys' record was. That season, I can't remember. So, can you shed some light on what was the memories that you remember from that season? And going into your leaving that season and going into your senior season.
Yeah. So we sophomore, junior, and senior, we were 9-2. We could not get past 2 losses, man. We were 9-2, and so so memories coming from. Junior to senior, it was that's when me and a lot of homeboy, we used to work out a lot, but then really in particular my boy Romo Westbrook, y'all can look on, he's a really good athlete for us too. He, like, in the summer, like that junior summer, we kind of just got it in our mind, like, man, this is us, and so we were like, I mean, 2 days we were just like working out a lot and then just trying to get ready for that senior season, to hopefully, make it to the next level and all that. But that junior to the senior was definitely I say transformation, but I mean we were still working hard. But it's like you got one season,
one left, that next level. So wait, so you said your senior, so you all are a really good team. Mm-hmm. And every division of football is different from Division One, which is the bowl series and those. They have a playoff now, but every other division they do playoffs.
Yeah,
I've always found it very odd how even at the 1AA, the D2, D3 level, how the playoffs are structured, even for teams that are really, really, really good, because they do it like kind of regionally. Yeah, and you could be a team that goes. You said you guys went 9-2.
Yeah. Yeah,
and like you could be a team at those levels and still not make the playoffs, which is crazy.
That happened one of the years. That happened one of our years. Yep, it happened one of our years.
Now, what year was that? Not to interrupt you.
No, I think that was our. Was that my junior season? I think it was either sophomore or junior, but we ended up playing in a bowl game, and so we lost 2 conference games. And so. Yeah, that's what hurt it. So I say 9-2, but so one of the seasons, 2 of the seasons we lost 2 conference games, and then my senior season we lost 1 conference game, and then we lost also in the
a non-conference.
Yeah.
Oh, in the playoff. Oh, so you guys went 10-1?
No, so we were actually we were 9-1 that season.
Oh, 9-1. Okay.
Yeah, we were 9-1.
Okay.
And then we lost that senior season. We lost to Pitt State. Yeah.
That's a good program.
Man, that guy. But we talk about it all the time, man.
I don't know about the game. I'm just saying I know that
the game was good.
That program. That's a really good program at that level.
Man, that still haunt us to this day. We went up like 21-0 first quarter. We up 21-0. And then next thing you know, 21-21 going into halftime. And then after that, it was just all on. They just took off from there. It was like, man, we just knew we had that game in the bag. And then it was just, like I said, went up 21-0. And then they scored like 3 times, like going into the half. And then it was
wow.
Man, what? and the atmosphere was crazy. They fans, like, they had a lot of fans talking crap and all that. But I mean, it was that game, me and my buddies, every time we talk, we always that's one of the games we always talking about. Like, man, we started to look too cocky.
That playoff atmosphere is real big. Here's a question a lot of athletes don't answer, but I've answered it differently. What's more favorable for you? Home games because you're home crowd, you're the home team, or away games because when you win and you like to rub it in the faces of your opposing crowd. And so what did you prefer, away games or home games? And then what was the furthest you all went for an away game? Like most likely out of conference game. So yeah, those are my two questions. What did you prefer, home or away games? And what was like either the coolest location you all went for a away game or the furthest location you all went for, or furthest school you all went for a away game?
I prefer home games because I mean, I get to have family, there and all that. But it's crazy. Usually, my better games was away games. But even I
turn up away.
I know.
The turn up is real away.
Games. Yeah, I prefer it home, but usually, like I said, away was better. And so let me think. The furthest it probably would have been when we played Pitt State. But no, we went to I'm trying to think. It probably was Pitt State. It was probably. So we typically were in. We're in Oklahoma. We're in
right.
We played Northwest Missouri State. We played them.
That's another program.
I think that was my sophomore year. Man, them boys was out there hitting. That was them boys was big. I mean, that was our first playoff game, and we were like, God damn, these dudes all like tall, lean, and it was just like.
Those are big on boys. I mean,
no, there was some.
Surprisingly, Missouri has a lot of Division II programs.
Yeah,
a lot of, but that's one of the ones that is well known.
Yeah.
And then Pitt State is actually, for those who don't know, Pitt State's not in Philly, correct? Or is it?
No. So Pitt State?
Yeah,
Pittsburgh State. No. What is it? Kansas, or is it Missouri? One of them two. I always forget.
Okay,
it's one of them. Yeah, and so,
one of those deceiving names. People's like, Pitt State. They must be in such and such.
No,
I actually thought it was in Kansas because I think I remember one game that you guys went to in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was. I think it is. I always get it mixed up, like Kansas City, all that. I'm like, okay, is it Missouri?
Right, Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, for sure. I think Kansas, but yeah, that was. And all the atmosphere. So, that was probably one of the biggest atmosphere. Also, Northwest Missouri. Like I said, that was our first time ever, going to, doing a playoff game. So, that we walked in the stadium, and we were just like, man, what the? We never played in a stadium like that. It was like.
At the D2 level, that school has a phenomenal facility.
Man, it was.
A phenomenal facility.
Yeah, I mean, they always winning, though. So, that's
that's also true. That's also true.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
Definitely. But going into your senior year, just take us to that, through that whole transition because I think I still remember how it started and how it pretty much, went down towards the end of it. So just break that down for us a little bit, just for some people who may not know.
How senior season went? Going into it or like the actual season?
Like actually going into going through the season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I think did we lose that first game? I could be wrong. Maybe I can't remember. Those they kind of like blurred. But the crazy thing is, so two top rivals were like OBU and Henderson, and so Henderson State, and so we might have lost our first, but then won out through that. But then we beat OBU my sophomore and junior year, but then we lost to them my senior year, right after we beat Henderson. So we lost to Henderson my sophomore and junior year, but beat them my senior year, and then flipped with OBU. And so that's what we would have won conference that senior year, and actually even other years if we would have just beat them. And so that was pretty bad because I can still remember the OBU, man. That's when they got what's the guy's name from? He came from Auburn. He is it Kyle Frazier? Maybe I think Kyle Frazier. He ended up transferring from Auburn, and he ended up playing at OBU. And so,
sound familiar.
Yeah, he was a big, tall guy, big quarterback. Ended up transferring there, and that was one of them games we also thought it was like, okay, it came down to the wire. That was like the last second, and so we ended up losing that game, and so that we ended up losing conference from that. But like I said, Henderson State was a big game too. Like when we played Henderson State, man, that was a turning point. Cause it was like, dang, okay, we got this. We finna win conference and all that. And then that's when OBU shouted our
So
dreams.
you said you played against a former D1 guy. But even at that level, even the guys who play at the level, you were amazed by. I know when I went to school, I didn't know a lot about Division II schools or even Division III because my school was transferring. But you get there and you be like, man, these dudes can play at the level. No matter where you are, you always going to play some phenomenal athletes.
Yeah.
Does any athlete that you played with or against like stand out? Like I played with a guy that was like crazy good that didn't make it obviously because of the level, or you played against a guy you're like, yo, like this dude is different.
It was a couple of them in college. So actually, my sophomore year, we played against Janoris Jenkins. Like he ended up.
Well, he's at North Alabama.
North Al, yeah, he was at North Al. We ended up playing against him, and he different. I mean, you can just like compare. You can tell he was just different, man. He was a really good athlete. And then let's see, we had a couple guys. I mean, like Henderson State, man, they just like were producing receivers and all that. But they noticed we had this linebacker, big dude. I can't remember his name. Man, he was a really good. I mean, we all knew like he was plugging holes and he was popping stuff. So, and then it was some. One of my best friends here at Hardin, Donatello Luckett. He was different, man. He was way above. He was with a couple teams in a league. He played a little bit.
Okay.
He was different. I mean, he was different. I mean, couldn't nobody even tackle him in like practice. He was different. He was definitely different. So yeah, like I said, it was definitely some guys out there. You're just like, okay, this dude,
like you like either like damn, like dudes can be this good, or like damn, you came here, you that like because everyone's situation is different.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's situation is different. I remember the wide receiver who when I went to Upper Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't go on a visit, so you just looking at the roster. I'm looking at the stuff. I'm like, oh, this dude. It was a guy from Florida, but he was Italian. His name was Jesse Matalto. He's actually he coaches at a Central Iowa Junior College now, head coach.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm looking at the picture like because pictures don't tell you nothing, but that's all you can go off of is a roster. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm about to walk in here. I'm about to start taking some. Got to feel like, oh no, let's do this. He made some crazy one-hand catch. Not like no Odell stuff, but like the way he caught it, he turned his hand.
Yeah.
The way he caught it was crazy in a practice a game. And I'm like, the hell? You see something, you be like,
yeah.
Normal people don't do that. No, normal guys don't do stuff like that. So yeah.
That was that was my guy, like Tello here. Like we just throw him a screen, one stiff arm, he just gone. I mean, he was different, man. He was definitely different. I was like, I remember like sophomore year, freshman, freshman year, kind of like, man, you here? Like what? What I'm saying? We all used to say that, like what? You here? And then, like you said, everybody just had a different story, so it was different things. But yeah, no,
certain things,
really good. One of my best friends, like he was in my wedding, and so like I said, we super close. But yeah, it was one of those things. I'm like, who is this dude? Like, he couldn't get tackled in practice, barely in the games. They was
right.
I mean, and one person wasn't tackling him either. And so it was. I still remember that.
It took several guys to get him down. That's definitely one of the things I remember about him the most. Is he was very hard to tackle.
So since I don't know, was he a receiver? Was he a running back? Receiver.
So yeah. So he ended up. So he came in as a running back. So the crazy thing, so he came in as running back, and then he actually ended up. They switched him to receiver because so we can have a good receiver there as well. But then my other dude, buddy Romo, who's in my wedding as well, he was the running back. So he was a really good running back too. They were both really good running backs. Yeah. But we also needed a really good receiver as well. And so that way we had both of them on the field.
Right.
Yeah. Had both of them on the field at the same time. And so like I said, they were both like athletes, man. Them dudes.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember about watching them on and watching Hardin is that they had some amazing players that I thought that can really they just the aggressiveness that I've seen those guys play with is just amazing. Yeah. So I definitely remember that team. I will forever remember that team, and I'm actually got actually thankful that I got a chance to watch, some of you guys' games because I was definitely impressed.
And that's
Now,
even better
yeah,
that you all are like that close, that these guys were in your wedding. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I was only in school 3 years, but my closest friends from college, none of them. I don't. The two dudes that I'm still cool with, neither of them played on the football team.
Oh,
These are
really?
dudes who were just regular students,
Yeah.
and somehow that relationship. I'm damn. I don't think I'm like super cool with none of the guys I bought with.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool, like on Facebook, like what up, bro? How the family?
Yeah.
But like guys who I like keeping super contact. Most of the guys, the two or three guys, they were both non-athletes. So it's really seeing that at the college level when you're still cool, or guys in your wedding and stuff like that happens a lot. Sometimes, especially when you're in the same position group, whether you're
Yeah.
like receiver, running back, or quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are always,
Yeah. Yeah.
they all the quarterbacks, all everybody weddings, especially
Yeah.
as long as you're not an asshole.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
that's
No.
what's up. That's what's
Close.
up.
Yeah. We all.
Those relationships that you keep after college are major because
Yeah.
this is just another phase of your life. So that's what's up.
Definitely. We'll all be linking up in a month, to be honest. So yeah, like I said, we still close. I mean, we talk, we text, snap all the time. So yeah, I college. I was like a lot of people are kind of when they look at football, it's like, oh, it's just a sports. These guys are playing sports. Man, it helped me
Nah.
a lot of with like developing relationships with people, and then just life, just help you a lot with life. Some people just see it as a sport. I'm like, man, it saved a lot of people, and then it's also teaching you a lot of stuff. And then also those relationships, developing those, like I said, like I'm like four of the people in my wedding were on my team. Like I played with, it's supposed to be a fifth, but ended up, so like I said, it's a lot of relationships for sure.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Now, it was one particular play that I missed, and I think it was the best play of your college career. That was the 97-yard return for kickoff and touchdown. So just go with us with as far as how that play broke down. What did you see, and just how did you just get to the end zone?
Yeah, man, that was we were playing Henderson. That was that season, my senior season. We were playing Henderson. Man, that was one of the hottest games ever. I mean, like it was so hot, and so we like sweating a lot. And so the funny thing is, I actually wasn't going to go in on that play. I told the other guy, Corey, I was like, hey, you got this rep. And I think he was tired of some stuff like that. I was like, man, no, forget it. I'm gonna go in. So I went in, kicked it to me. He kicked it over to the corner. Like I said, I was like tired, and so like I caught it, but then it like slid and just stayed, and like it fell right in front of me. And so I looked up as I was picking the ball up, and I was like, you know what, you just got to go. Like I'm like, I just got to hit it, because I was in my mind, I'm like, I just dropped this ball, and so I picked it up, looked in front of me, and then I saw my buddy Tello. He coming through, trying to getting that block, and so I just took off. I mean, I took off. I think it was some guys on my left side, and so I ended up cutting and going around. So now I'm on the sideline. I still remember in my head, like my boy J. Cole, he was in front of me, and like he was kind of mirroring this guy. And the whole time in my mind, I'm like, man, block him. Like, which way you gonna go? Let me know. I'm making my move off you. I know. I'm like, make a move so I can make my move. And so then he ended up, and so I started to just go, but he ended up blocking him and kind of pushing him down. And so I jumped. I mean, it like a little smaller hurdle over both of them.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, a little smaller hurdle over them. And then lost my balance, and so was tiptoeing the sideline. And then ended up like I said, regaining my balance, and then because I was like, damn, am I out? But I ain't hear no whistle, and so then I just kept I just went to the end zone after that. And so it's still funny though, because like half of the team was like, you're out, the other half was like, no, you're in bounds. It was a good play. And so that was just a crazy one, because like I said, I dropped it, and then I look up and I'm like, well, you just gotta hit it now. So I just hit it, and then it was a crazy play. It was right before halftime. That's what it was, right before halftime.
Those are big momentum jumps right there.
It was right before halftime, man. And I've never had to use oxygen, man. I went to the sideline. I was like, give me some oxygen. That was that game was, man. I probably lost 20 pounds in sweat that game. It was crazy. Yeah, but that was a big moment. Like
that's what's up.
Like,
okay,
man, I still remember that.
Now going into the next thing I was going to talk to you about was we know that you finished your senior season, you had a good college career. But I know there was one play in particular that I seen that, and I think it was televised, and we was able to watch it from home.
Uh-huh.
It was one play that I seen in particular. I don't know if I can remember it exactly, but I remember that you had got tackled. Whoever tackled you pretty much got a, I don't know if it was a clean hit or whatnot, but you kind of landed on your on your head and on your neck, and I know you got up with a concussion. I know you're probably not going to remember that play, but was that pretty much the factor that you said, okay, maybe this is something I need to think about again as far as, do I want to continue to play or do I want to do something else? So did that ever play in the factor of your decision, or was it just basically just saying, okay, well, I can shake that off and I can just keep it going and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, man. It was no point while I was playing ball, high school, college, that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, it was like they could have been like, oh, you got now they say you got like, I had 3 or 4 concussions or something. I was like, man, you probably shouldn't do this. I probably would have gave it a thought, but no, I mean, it was, I was, like I said, I was just like gung ho. I was like, man, I want to just keep playing and all that. And so
ride it till the wheels fall off.
Exactly, till the wheels fall all the way off. And so I took a couple hard hits, but like I said, I was still just like, oh. I mean, let's get back to it. And so I would say, I don't think I I didn't really have to miss for a concussion or anything. I did, like I said, Northwest Missouri State. I got hit pretty hard on one of those plays, and that was probably the hardest I've ever been hit. And so I still ended up getting back in the game, though. I still remember it all, but yeah, it was one of the big things. But yeah, I never had a moment where I was just like, no, this isn't for me. I was just always all in.
Okay. Yeah,
my man.
Because the next time I was going to ask you, I know you. I know pretty much after school and after the fact, I know that I had called and asked you. I don't know if you remember this at the time. I called and asked you was the next, what was the next thing you were going to do, and I think you told me, if I'm not mistaken, that you were going to go into, I don't know if it was the NFL combine or if it was something to where you was going to go and do some training. So how did that whole process went out? And I think you went to Texas. Am I correct? Somewhere in Texas to do that?
Yeah. So I ended up actually, whenever I graduated, I actually linked up with my guy JJ Metters. He was a receiver for Arkansas. You guys look at him. He doing a lot of good in Arkansas, training a lot of athletes. But he actually found me in high school, like my junior, senior year, and he was just kind of like, hey, you want to train with me? It was him and Anthony Lucas. He played in the league for a little bit. Anthony Lucas. Yeah. So they found me, was like, hey, you want to train? And so I'm like, okay, I mean, cool. So I ended up training with them. And so then I graduated. And then so I hit JJ up, JJ Metters. I was like, hey, training. I mean, I knew he was still training. So I actually ended up training with him for probably a couple months, maybe a month or a month and a half or so. But then I ended up going, to Michael Johnson Performance, MJP, out here in Texas. I ended up training there, like before the like pro days. So no, it wasn't like the big combine. We did end up having
the regional.
Yeah, I did the region. That's what it was. Regional. Yeah. I forgot about the region. Yeah, I ended up doing the regional.
Yeah, people don't know. Like besides the major ones, they have so many regional combines.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do get invited to the major ones, especially the small school guys.
Yeah.
But those are also like a lot of guys who are not invited to those to the major Indianapolis combine. You go to the regional besides your pro day, which I was gonna ask you. So, what year what year was your last year of college?
2014.
Okay, because I was going to ask, because I had a cousin go overseas. Did you have any opportunity to play in any overseas leagues? I know they, football's not crazy big overseas, but they have like some German leagues or anything like that. And then, since you are a little bit more removed, did you ever think about, going after like the AA, what was it, the XFL or the USFL, any of those type things, or at this point you're kind of like, hey, I've had my time, I'm kind of out of it. But I know that even in 2014 there were some other opportunities that possibly, if you were up for it, that might have been there for you.
Yeah, so I actually did a couple of CFL trials. I did a couple of CFL trials, but I mean, I kind of regret it, but I did like a couple of tryouts. Didn't perform as good as I wanted to. And so, but at that same time, like my senior season, I actually ended up getting accepted into PA school. And so I got accepted
making
into
that
PA
decision.
School. Yeah, I know. And so I was kind of, and then so that was the first time I was kind of like, dang, I got to make a decision. And it was kind of like, looking back at it, I was just like, dang, I wish I would have gave it more time, of trying, to hit the league. But like I said, it was kind of like, man, even though I wanted it to be for the rest of my life, I was like, football is not forever. And so I'm like, man, it's just kind of tough to get into PA school, to be honest. It's tough to get into.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, man, like, what do I do? So I eventually ended up doing PA school. But like the lady, like the acceptance lady, she was actually really great, because it came down to it. She's like, hey, have you made a decision? I was like, no, I don't know. Because that's around the time where I was like at the peak of training. I was training. And so I told her, I honestly actually told her, I was like, hey, you guys can give my spot to someone else, because I don't want to just hold this spot up, because I just don't know. I'm still training, trying to. And I had ended up getting an agent and all that. And so then she's like, no, we'll wait on you. And so I was like, part of me, I was like, later on, I was kind of like, dang, I wish she would have gave my spot up. But no, it was no, I'm on the right path. Like, I'm definitely like I enjoyed doing what I did. So I was kind of like, man. So then then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go the route. And so then since then I've been doing that. But like I said, I did a couple of CFL tryouts. And so that was that was like the extent of it. Like I trained a couple of CFL tryouts. We did we had a pro day at our school, and so
Oh, okay. So CFL came down. Some scouts came down.
No, so it was actually NFL. So my boy Tello, I was telling you guys about, he had a lot of he had some scouts come down, and so a few of us were able to participate in it as well.
Right. Okay.
And so we had a pro day at our school, and then like I said, I also did regional, and then a couple of the CFL tryouts. And so it was a tough time, man. It was a tough time trying to make a decision.
I didn't participate, but I've seen AFL back before the AFL had officially stopped. I've been to like one of those offshoot AFL combine tryouts, bro. You talking about just random dudes? So you be like, yo, why are you here? Like, man, you get because people don't at the time. This was back in after I broke my leg. So I broke my leg semi-pro 2010 or something like that. I forgot. But I ended up going with one of my homeboys to the arena football tryout.
Yeah. And
I'm telling you, 95 to 98% of the guys who showed up was like, come on. I felt like back in the day, like, come on, son. Like, like what? No, but they put their word out. This dude just be like, you shouldn't. I get it, but you should not be here.
No, I know what you mean. No, I know. It was like that. Some of the CFL Charles. I'm like, but I mean, you had some ballers though. You did have some
exactly right.
Who can play too though. So it was. I didn't expect, like you said, I didn't expect it to be like some of the guys. I'm like, and they were like, oh yeah. I mean, I didn't play after high school, so I was kind of what? I was like, what? But I mean, hey, I mean, it was like I said, you did have some people out there who can really play too though.
Okay, that's what's up.
Okay. Now, what's your job occupation as far as right now?
Yeah, so I'm a PA, physician assistant. I'm working in orthopedics right now. Yeah, okay, and so I graduated PA school in 2017, and then I went back up to Chicago for a year, did like an ortho residency for a year, and then before moving to where I'm at now in Texas, doing PA. So.
Okay. I mean, that still allows you to be around like former athletes being orthopedic because injuries or something rampant. So
that was a big one of the big reasons why I actually chose it. Cause I'm like, okay, I still get to be around athletes, and I'm actually right now like studying for my CSCS, Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist.
Oh, that's what's up.
Trying to eventually basically kind of open up a gym where we're training athletes. Me and a couple of my homeboys training athletes, but then also trying to like incorporate kind of what I do now, kind of having like this, just trying to put everything together, like knowing the medical side of stuff, but then also knowing how to, train them as well for it.
Right.
Okay.
That's what's up. It's a lot of money in training, especially nowadays with everything people training year round, not just football or whatever
Yeah,
sports you're in, just being seasonal. Dudes
yeah,
be take a month off and go right back at it. It's
yeah,
a different atmosphere because
definitely.
so much investment financially is put into
Yeah,
athletics at this point in time. Even at the college level, whether it be Division 1 all the way down to NAIA, guys want to be at the best condition they can be to perform the best they can at all these levels. So
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
big industry, man. I have
definitely.
some acquaintances who get a degree in something and want to do the personal trainer thing, or
Yeah.
had a friend. A part of her getting, she's a physical therapist. A part of the
Mhm.
company she worked for, I think it was ATI. She got to be a part of Bears training camp out in
Really?
Bourbonnais. So
Oh,
because she
nice.
worked for ATI and she got to be around the Bears athletes, and she has done that. So that's those, all those opportunities open up to branch out to, they could be
Yeah.
meet a few people here or there, have some opportunity. Those are all big things that. So kudos to you, man. Like that's what's
Appreciate it.
up.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, like it's definitely like I said, the goal has always been, open up like a training facility. Me and my boy talked about it. Romo talked about opening up a training facility, and at some point, he's actually a strength coach right now at a school out in Missouri. He's out there as a strength coach, and so like I said, the goal has always been to open up a training facility where we're training athletes
Yeah,
and other people, not just athletes, but just training
just
folks.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you definitely talking to me about that way before you even finished, your college career and everything.
Hmm.
But it's just good, man, to see you. I ain't seen you in a long time. It's good
I
that you're
know.
doing what you're doing. And man, I told you, regardless of what you're doing, I'm proud of you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Keep doing what
Appreciate
you're
it, cuz.
doing. Your mom, your entire family did an outstanding job, and I just want to give you my blessings. Just keep going, man,
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
and keep
Okay,
that.
so I just need you to do this for
Oh, go
us,
ahead.
just so you can plug yourself. You ain't no, yeah, you ain't close to 40. Me and CJ hit almost up to the 40 yet.
Shoot, I
Can
ain't
you
40 yet.
can right? You're not even close. Can you give us a
No,
synopsis? Can you give us a rundown of your accolades from high school through college? Whether CJ, I saw the when you made I think it was a conference player of the week
Uh-huh.
nomination, I believe. So give
Yes.
us like your rundown of either some important stats, some big things, any records you broke at school, high school, college,
Yeah.
any of that stuff. So people, we know you the truth, but just so you can be like, hey, I do this. So
he's not. He's not a cocky person though. He's not.
No.
But
He
if
got
you
me
want
out
to be
here.
cocky, go ahead and go for it.
No. But I mean, let's see. High school, I played. I mean, I was like all conference and stuff like that. Football, basketball, track.
hey
Um,
man, there's 3 sports.
I, know-
Right.
I did baseball for a year, but it was one of those things where it was like, um, coach basically like, oh, I think I was like a freshman maybe, and then I was
Oh,
just
okay.
starting to play more as in football, so I ended up doing that. But yeah, so I was like all conference, all that.
Okay.
Then let's see, college. Yes, that I remember that player of the week, special teams player of the week nominee. I actually, I made an All American list as well while I
Okay.
was in,
There you go.
and then academic All American as well,
That's
and
that's
then
big too. That's
yeah,
big too.
that was definitely
Especially based on your major.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So that was big. I had a record. It got broke the next year. That 97-yard kickoff return.
Yeah,
Ah.
Yeah, that
yeah.
was
I
that one
asked him
got
about it. I
broke.
was like, "Is that record still standing?" I had to go back and look. Man, I
Man,
had to
it,
do a lot of searching and looking.
yeah, it got broke.
that's
I mean, that
that's
record
okay.
stood for a while. Like the
That's
person before
okay.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stood. The person before me, it stood for a while. Then I ended up breaking it. But then yeah,
Okay.
he broke it like the next
That's
year.
okay.
Like yeah,
When they open up the next year's book,
I'm number
your name
two.
will,
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
there.
number two on the list, and no knockoff to the person that broke the record, but you
yeah,
were in Harding all years
yeah.
that you were there.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
that's
Definitely.
what's up.
Mhm.
So man,
definitely.
CJ, we
Yeah, man, and Ahmad, I appreciate you stopping by, bro. I really do. I know this was a long time in the making. I should have did this 2 years ago, but I'm glad I did it now, and I'm glad we got you on here and you were able to tell your story because I thought it was very interesting as far as where you started and where you're at right now, and the fact that you said that you were gonna do the things that you were gonna do, and the fact that you're making them happen is just impressive enough. And I mean, anytime you want to come back, and actually, man, what I really would like to do is for you to come back with a couple of your teammates. Because,
We can do that.
come back with you guys and ask you guys some questions as far as your college days and stuff like that. And, as far as the teammates and that bond and whatnot. So I'd love for you to come back with a couple of your teammates if you can and, and be able to, interview you guys and talk with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I'll reach out to them for sure. I'll get them on here. My close buddies, we'll get on here and talk. But I really appreciate y'all for having me for sure. Though
hey, most definitely. I know we got a lot of old heads in the comments, and I'm trying to get some younger viewers. But to see a young man like yourself who looks like them, who has aspirations like they do, the young black men of this country, to let them know that even if you can't be that 1% that make it to the super high level. I mean, I don't want to quote no NCAA because they all about the money, but knowing that you can follow your dream of playing ball at the next level, and then you can still get your paper, get your academics squared away, go into a career field that will make you proud, make your family proud, and put you on the map to set you up for your future, man. So it's always good to talk to another brother who's a college graduate, did the academic, the student athlete thing, or the athlete student thing, whichever way you want to put forward. So always big to have a person guest on. I know we had a couple young athletes in previous weeks, so that's the goal, is to be a productive person in society and do your thing and to live out whatever you need to do as long as you're on this planet Earth, man. So appreciate it. Much gratitude. Big ups.
Yes, sir.
Hope you hope you get all the training and facilities. I hope all that comes to fruition, especially you in the hotbed. So in Texas, it's like,
it's out here. Definitely. No, I appreciate that. Really, it was nice meeting you. For sure, definitely. I mean, I'll be sharing. And like I said, I've got a couple of people in here already.
I saw an ex-teammate of yours who left the comment.
Yeah, that's my boy Jason. Yeah, we play slot together as well.
Okay.
We were yin and yang on both sides. So
that's what's up. I just met my a couple of the young men, about 5 or 6 young men from the school that I should be coaching at the next fall. Well, technically this coming up fall. So definitely when I get a chance, I'm gonna let them like, hey, your coach run a podcast and we have some athletes on, and you can be a success at the next level just like this man can. You can do it academically and athletically. It's all possible. It's a school, DuSable High School over here on 34th and Wabash.
Okay.
I just went down there. Wasn't sure if I'm gonna get back for traffic, but I just went down there and met a handful of guys for the first time, just so they could see my face. We got a long way before summer camp starts and all that other stuff, but it's not by any means a football powerhouse. But I hope that I can influence them and get them to think bigger than whatever their goals are. Think bigger and better, to where you could do something even if this football thing don't work out. Academics and all that good stuff. So.
For sure, congrats.
Most definitely.
Congrats. That's nice.
Most definitely. Hey, man, I'll talk to you soon. Again, I appreciate you for stopping by, man. As good as always, and take care of yourself, man.
Thanks, y'all too, man. It was good talking to y'all.
Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
Good talking to you.
All right. So that was Ahmad, and again, I thought that you guys would enjoy, him coming on to the podcast, him telling his story. But there you have it. You got a kid who played football for the majority of his life, and did it all, and of course, had to, to me, as far as going to school and doing great academically, it's a big thing because you can always have options, and that's what it's all about. But right now, we're gonna get into some. Actually, we can get into some Bears talk or some Bulls talk, but we got Guy backstage, and we're going to bring him on right now. So let's bring Guy in here real quick. Guy, what's going on, bro?
Man, what's up, brothers? How y'all doing?
All right.
Not much, man. We just another day.
Yeah, man, I hear y'all on that.
Another day, man. But I think we can probably get into some. I don't know if Bears got anything going on. Maybe the coach can elaborate on us as far as anything going on. But I guess we can get into some Bulls real quick.
Man, listen, bro. Oh, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, it ain't no laughing matter. I mean, I'm not laughing, because yeah, they lost 4 games in a row, and the way that they lost these 4 games is not too good. Um, but going
They're
into
completely exposed, man.
yeah, definitely exposed, and going into that losing streak, we see what's going on.
Hey,
We
guy.
definitely. Oh, go
Hey,
ahead.
guy. You got some. You got the background sound. You,
I got the TV. If I can turn my TV down,
okay.
Yeah,
You
is
getting
it better?
carry on? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. But
It's down. I'll
Um,
turn it down.
Appreciate it. So yeah, yeah. I mean, we had some tough losses as a recent to some better teams, especially that Milwaukee game where they kind of fell flat at the end. I didn't even know this stat until I heard it on the radio today. So versus the I guess the top 3 or 4 seeds of the West to East, the Bulls are 0-13. I think the stat is. So like
Yeah.
Suns, Milwaukee. We're not counting Brooklyn because Brooklyn's like they're fighting for the play in, but versus the upper echelon of
the
East.
500 plus teams, correct? Or
No, I
600
don't
plus
think it's just
teams.
500. I think it's like the top 3 or 4 seeds from the East and West got teams that are slotted between
Right.
1 and 4 in the East and West. So something to that effect. The Bulls are 0-13.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't beat the Suns this year. They haven't beat Golden State this year. They haven't beat um,
Philly.
Philly. Yeah, right. They haven't beat Philly. I think they split with Cleveland so far this year. Although Cleveland just has some injuries, so I don't know where they're ranked now. So that might have changed that stat. But yeah, I know a lot of radio was like, man, we just got to get these guys healthy. They've been competitive in most of the games, but that is especially versus teams like Philly, Milwaukee. Someone was like, we match up well with Milwaukee, but I'm just saying, like, you haven't won a regular season game. It's hard to find that inspiration come playoff to beat a team for it. And, we've been talking about it for weeks, beating a team 4 out of 7. So we're really, really, really
There's
counting on these guys being healthy come playoff time.
there's something else going on with this Bulls team that I noticed today. Actually, watching this Philly game, and I think it's a coaching issue. I really think it's a coaching issue. Um, in the game that we've lost so far, the 4 games we lost was 5 now. The Bulls don't play into the fourth quarter. They don't play hard at all into the fourth quarter. That is a thing that I noticed. That's a trend with them right now in this losing streak. They're not playing hard the whole game. They're not established enough to loaf in a game these games to where they're not can pull these games out and win these games.
Hmm.
So so they're not competing at the whole game. Every fourth quarter they try to pull out a win. When they could have been playing harder the rest of the 3 quarters. Now the
Right.
fourth
Well,
quarter comes, you get a team down to 8 points, 11 points. Now you got to fight your way all the way back, and that's something that I noticed tonight. I'm just trying to wrap my head
it's hard to
around.
it's hard to sustain for a whole year, always having to come back in the fourth. Now we neither. Well, you probably got to watch it. I didn't get to watch the Philly game. I didn't even know it was over already. I thought it came on. I thought it was a later start.
No, man, it's
What
over, man.
120, 121, 106. Were they competitive? Because I
And
didn't get to see any of the game on my
they
way home.
there's a trend. Like I'm telling you, bro. I'm watching this game.
Hmm.
Zach Levine is not a perimeter defender. He's not even an adequate perimeter defender. Kobe White this game seemed like he had more heart than anybody on this team tonight.
Oh man.
Um, um, Tristan Thompson had heart tonight. Uh, DeMar DeRozan was looking guys off on double teams for easy threes tonight. Every little
That's a
nuance
trend.
every little nuance that I've been talking about this season. Even with play top teams, it doesn't even matter. The mistakes and the things, the bad habits that we do, they rear their ugly head every single time. Zach's not good on defense.
Hmm.
DeMar doesn't pass out of the double team. Kobe's missing shots that he's supposed to hit. It's like everything compound these guys. And the craziest thing is this: when the fourth quarter comes, they try to win
Right,
every
because
time.
yeah, because they feel like
I'm not understanding it.
yeah, I don't understand it either. And what I think also too, and guy, you brought up a good point with Zach Levine, Christian Thompson. That's the first player I've seen since Zach has been on this team that a veteran player, got in Zach Levine's ass. about his defense
Yeah.
and how the way he plays his
Mhm.
defense.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
again, that's a trend that I'm seeing more so that this Bulls
Mhm.
team, as players not really being defensively. They have to play defense as a team, and it's a lot of things they're not doing as a team right now. They're not
Mhm.
rebounding, which is a
Mhm.
part of defense. Offensive rebounding, defensive rebounds, it's a part of defense.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
a lot of things is that they're trying to play too much hero ball instead of just playing, the way they're supposed to play, which is either get the ball to Vooch, move the ball around, swing the ball around, get easier shots. Everything is a difficult shot. With DeMar DeRozan, it's a difficult shot. And you got players that standing around waiting for DeMar to do something, and then DeMar either don't pass the ball or he's getting double and triple team to where he shoots over them. And I've seen that
See,
over the
and
last. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, and that's the thing about it's more about DeMar than it is about the guys on the wing. Because if I'm playing with you and I see you spin and I see you spin towards me away from the double team, my
Mm-hmm.
first thought is what? You're going to pass me the ball. Why would
Right.
you spin back the other way, pump fake, shoot a shot, or lose the ball or pass the ball in the air or try to make a
Right.
jump pass? That's the things that he's been doing. And for him, like I say, we don't have a real point guard at this point.
Right.
Ayo's still a rookie. Ayo is not. Ayo can probably be more aggressive. He could probably score more points. But since he's not on the top of the ladder as far as like it is an option on this Bulls team, we're not getting any point production from our point guards. From Kobe as a combo guard, Ayo as the point guard. Who's the other point guard we have? I don't even know who the other point guard we have on our team at this point. So when we're looking at matchups, you got guys like Joel Embiid playing against us, James Harden playing against us, Maxey playing against us, guys that's healthy at the end of the season, that's going to contribute on a nightly basis and play defense. And
Mm-hmm.
where we're at now as a Bulls team, with our guys out, as far as Patrick Williams, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, with the bad habits that DeMar has, with the bad habits that Zach LaVine has, and whatever you're going to get from everybody else,
Right.
it's a formula for losing. And like I said, they're playing hard at the end of games. End of games, they look like a playoff team. The first 3 quarters, I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's
Right. And
crazy.
it's
I think
yeah.
that
It's
inconsistency is built up because of so much of the injury. Like this team is not at its peak, so you got a lot of guys playing minutes they wouldn't typically play. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm not
That's
saying
not
that
that's not it, bro. That's
what I'm
not it,
saying is
bro.
that I don't think Io's been starting in a lot of minutes, but I don't think that was ever their intention for this guy to be starting, and I don't think he's ready to be a starter in this league, even at this team. So what you think? What I'm saying is that I'm just saying this team dynamic of based on the injuries, like this is not the team that we signed, well, quote unquote, signed up for the beginning of the season. This team, I think this team has done quite well based on the circumstance they are at. But
I agree with that.
this team's not a consistent winning team based on the roster the way it's constructed right now with everyone out from injuries. This team wouldn't get the first round based on the roster we got right now. If we don't get those handful of guys back. I don't
I
think these
agree.
guys would get out the first
I
round.
agree with that. I agree with that. But there's something in this team where I'm seeing they're not completely grown up yet. You know what I mean? As far as even with the injury, look, I give them that. I give them grace. I understand that. Like you're not gonna, just substitute Patrick Williams, 6'8", 7'1" wingspan, Alex Caruso, all defensive point guard, all NBA, Alex Caruso. I'm talking about when I'm watching these. This has been 5 games, bro. The games they're losing for some reason at the end of these games, they're playing harder
Waiting
in
too
the
long.
fourth quarter. And I don't understand where it's coming from. And I think that's coaching. I think that's coaching. I don't know what philosophy Billy Donovan has first 3 quarters of the game, but what I'm seeing is every fourth quarter they play harder. And that's something that if you're a real established team, even with the injuries, if you can play that hard in the fourth quarter, you can play like that the first 3 quarters too.
So,
You do
so,
way
so are
more.
you excluding the Milwaukee game because I think it was the opposite. I think that they played really hard for 3 quarters, and that second half of that fourth quarter, like turnovers, and they can't get any stops. When Milwaukee clamped down, Milwaukee's one of the probably top 5 defensive teams in the NBA. Once they decided to clamp
Mm-hmm.
down, they couldn't make any baskets.
I respect the champions, man. I respect guys. I respect the teams that's like Milwaukee. That got that championship pedigree, and they compete against them.
Right.
But okay, if it's flipped on one time, okay, look, they were looking good in the fourth quarter. Okay, then they flipped it again this game. They didn't look good for none of the quarters. So it's like we're not balanced enough
They're just not
to
playing well
be
enough. Yeah.
top. Yeah, not even the injuries because we can both see flashes and okay, they playing Milwaukee this way. Okay, they're playing good. Then you can see how they were playing not Boston, but Philly tonight. Oh, okay, they played better in the fourth quarter. So it's like it seems like it's a coaching issue outside of injuries, man. Whatever Billy Dunham's philosophies are on defense and whatever he's bringing into practice with these guys, and for them to be playing this way for these first three quarters, man, that's an issue. That's just an issue for me. That's all I really got from me just watching it. It's something that I don't know. It was weird. I'm at a loss for words, bro. To be honest with you.
How about you, CJ? Because I mean, we kind of ran through the games this week from Monday to Monday. There's only been 3 games since last Monday. I think it was the Wednesday, Friday, Monday.
Yeah.
So the past 3 games, since we kind of covered some of the games last week, are you seeing the same things that Walker's seeing, or you have a slightly different take on it, or what you got?
No, I actually don't, and it's not just even the fourth quarter. It's that we're not seeing them put the quarters together. It's like
There you go.
they
Yeah.
play one good quarter, and then it's a complete like they went completely off script. So,
Okay.
and it's more so what I'm seeing is guys are not hustling to the ball.
There you go. Yep.
Guys are not moving. Guys are standing. It's too much standing going on. It's way too
That's
much
true.
standing going on. And then when you got DeMar, and another thing too is DeMar. Them putting DeMar at point guard, they need to scrap that.
Thank you.
I think him playing point guard in this team is not the way they want to go, especially when you're the number one guy being the number one scorer, and teams know that you're good and they're going to play you a certain way. Now
And you're not a
Right.
3-point shooter.
yeah, and we always hear the
Right.
rule that
Right. Exactly.
you always play down the competition, right? You always play down the competition. So when you're in San Antonio and your San Antonio team is not winning, you're not going to get teams that's going to play you hard. But when you got teams like Philly, when you got teams like Milwaukee, these teams are saying, okay, the Bulls, do they really belong here with us? We're going to test them tonight. And that's why I said as a player, if you see somebody on the schedule, if y'all play b-ball or football, whatever, you know that you seen a team on the schedule, and you're like, okay, we know this team got this and that. We're gonna see, and they may be an overachiever. You're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna test this team out tonight. We're gonna see can they really hang with us, And I think that's where the missing of Caruso, the missing of Lonzo Ball, that where it comes into effect because now you got players. DeMar played point guard in San Antonio, but that doesn't mean it's gonna work here in Chicago.
And
Right.
it does, and
Completely
it
different
and
system.
it doesn't mean, and it's a different system. And guess what? It's a different coach.
Different
It
coach.
seems like even though Popovich Spurs are not what they used to be, I'm pretty sure his teams are probably more disciplined than what I'm seeing from this Chicago Bulls team.
Defensively, they got it.
I mean, I said discipline, way more discipline too, and that's what I'm starting to see as a trend within this Bulls team is discipline and focus. You know what I mean? Whatever DeMar was told to do in San Antonio, he did it. I don't know what the Bulls told him what they needed him to be when he got here, but I was expecting him to be more of a playmaker. You know what I'm saying? He's more of a scorer, which we need. Like I said, we're finally getting to the playoff mix. This is the best season we've had in 5 years. So I'm not here to completely down the Bulls. We could easily be 15 and 30 or something like that. And I'm loving my team. But just watching them, and I'm starting to see the holes inside of the philosophy of Billy Donovan and his team's lack of discipline and lack of hustle, to your point, CJ. And I think that's coming down to a lot of it's coming down to their franchise guys. They set the tone. Zach LaVine setting the tone as a starting shooting guard, and he's leaving guys open. He's not committing to defensive rebounds. So it's like a lot of things I'm starting to see when we play the better teams. Is real basketball happening now.
Yeah.
So now that we're playing real basketball, the magnifying glass gets a little more close. You zoom in just a little bit more, and you're just starting to see a little bit of the things that's questioning why Zach LaVine should get a max contract. things like that. You're just starting to see stuff, and you're like, that's interesting. The more and more I see this, and the better the team we play, you just start to piece it together. Like, I can see why people don't want to pay Zach, for example.
Now I'm looking
Right.
at the stats right now through my fantasy, and I
Hmm.
just pulled up DeMar's numbers: 23 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. Zach
Hmm.
LaVine, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and he said
Hmm.
he made 3 threes in the game. Now when I go down to IO, hold on.
Please tell me he ain't go for
When
today.
I go down to IO, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. So something is
Yeah,
not working.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what
Because
I'm saying.
and then another thing, not to cut you off, guy. Another thing that
No, you
I was
good,
gonna
bro.
ask
You
you
good.
is
Hmm.
what did Vucevic do in this game? Because
Oh, he was
if
out.
Demar, uh huh,
He was out.
Vucevic was out.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson started tonight.
Okay, so Joel Embiid played tonight, and James Harden, did he play tonight?
Yes, that's saying James Harden played tonight. Yes, he did.
Okay, and Embiid played tonight as well.
Yes, he did. 42 and 13, I think.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, and that's another thing. You can take it back from them not hustling and playing hard, DeMar getting double and triple team and all that, and not know, and his teammates not either him not trusting his teammates or his teammates not being available. I think it's a little bit of both. To
Yeah,
be
it's a little
honest
bit
with
of
you,
both.
guy, I think
It
it's a
has
little
to
bit of
be.
both. I think it's the fact that DeMar doesn't trust his teammates, and the fact that his teammates is not really helping the fact when they're standing there and not saying, yo, they should be yelling at him right now because I'm looking at DeMar like, yo, veteran or not, give me the damn ball if I'm open.
Right.
You know
I
what
mean,
I'm
if I'm
saying?
steady coming down the court and we all playing, okay, bro, you hit your fadeaway one time. Okay, bro, they trapping you. Here come the double team, bro. Why not
Yeah.
you passing the ball? So what is your natural instinct? Is to just what? Stand there. I'm just going to stand there now because I'm out of the game. I'm out of the
Right.
game as a weapon, as a cutter. You know what I mean? I'm out of the game because this one guy is coming up the court, ISO ball every time. So if I
Yeah.
know you're going to ISO ball and not play make, what I'm going to do? I'm going to
Right.
stand
And
in the
that's
corner.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. It's the coaching aspect of that. If DeMar is your number one playmaker, because it's really not Zach LaVine, so who's the guy bringing up the ball? Io is good as far as cutting and getting to the and making the passes when he has the space. But DeMar is your number one ball handler. You got teams that are double and triple teaming him. He ain't been used to seeing that. Not
Hmm.
in this type of offense, not in this type of offense and in the way they're running. So a lot of
Hmm.
that has to do with what you're saying. A lot it does have to do with some coaching. They're gonna have to
Yeah.
switch, until Lonzo, and people don't realize Lonzo is a big loss. Lonzo is a
Yeah,
big loss
man.
because he's the guy that
He's the
controls
captain on the
everything.
perimeter, man. He's the captain
Right.
on the
And
perimeter.
DeMar,
He,
DeMar didn't have to do none of that ball handling. He just got to his spot, and teams had to pretty much choose. Okay, we got to guard Lonzo because Lonzo's the guy that's going to distribute, and
and you
he
have
can
to
still
respect his
knock down
3-point shooting.
right, and he
Yep.
can knock down the 3-point shot. Now they don't
Hmm.
have that. Ayo's not really a solid 3-point shooter. He's a rookie. He can still do some things, but again,
Right.
the game has changed, and we have not seen that adjustment that Billy Donovan can make when you're losing key guys, not
The
just to your defense, but runs your offense.
the offense, it doesn't go from side to side, left to
Mm-hmm.
right. The ball doesn't swing. It doesn't swing. It doesn't matter if DeMar DeRozan, Guy Walker, or whoever's the starting shooting guard bring that ball up the court.
Mm-hmm.
He's only going to do what you allow him to do,
Right.
and he's been allowed to do that. The ball is not. When I was playing basketball, I want to see. I was told I want to see 5 passes for this ball get shot.
Right.
Just basic stuff, man. The ball comes down with DeMar with the ball in his hand. It's ISO. It's spin move. It's 2 points. The ball doesn't go this side of the court, that side of the court, back around, got cut. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's none of
Right.
that. It's none of that.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, I want to say I want to say this thing about DeMar DeRozan. Everybody say he can play point guard. Let me say this: it's different when you're a scorer that plays point guard. It's a whole nother different ball game when you're a point guard playing point guard. If you
Right.
can pretty much put that down. When you got a
Hmm.
scorer that can pass the ball, that doesn't mean he can play point guard. It just means that he can score
Exactly.
and he can get
Hmm.
assists. But when you got a point guard that visualizes the court and understand how to play, that's what it is. See, I
Hmm.
grew up watching Jason Kidd. I grew up
Right.
watching Allen Iverson. I
Hey,
know the
man.
difference between
Right.
the two. You know, Jay Kidd
Exactly.
was that guy
Right.
that can get the ball. He was one of my favorite
Mhm.
players. 'Cause I'm like, man, he visualizes the whole court. So I'm
I
saying,
mean, how
man,
Right.
many how
I'll
many
go ahead,
pass
DA.
first point? I was just saying, guys like that, and I don't want to say this. Granted, an old effort, and I'm not a big proponent of DeMar playing the point guard since he has issues passing out of the double team and having the defense collapse on him. But you talking about Jason Kidd, man. Those were at the time, pass, still having those pass first type point guards, and AI being a premier scorer type guy. I mean,
Right.
we got a mid range DeRozan. We got
Mm-hmm.
a semi slasher, but really a open court Zach LaVine because he's
Mm-hmm.
better in the fast break and he's better. I think
Yeah.
he's much better not having the ball in his hands. But you
Right.
know, I mean I haven't watched the game. Why don't we have are they getting Zach in positions where he's coming off
No.
those old school
No. No.
screens where he get.
No.
And I
No.
don't like. Why
No.
can't you get a guy that athletic who can attack the rim? Remember
Oh, you
how
preaching now,
remember,
bro. Oh, you
right?
preaching now,
Remember,
bro.
remember
Yeah.
how I remember he's not a 3-point shooter, but remember how Reggie Miller used to run people rampant
Mhm.
around all
Yeah. I
those
used to.
damn screens?
Man, he was a and Ray Allen too. Ray
Yeah,
Allen
they,
was
they would just
another.
run, and I mean those are shooters, but you can get a guy like that open mid range or even for a three because he can hit a set three instead of creating the three. He's not
Right.
that type of 3-point shooter, but he shoots. He's first in the team in 3-point attempts.
Uh huh.
Or getting that guy to where he's isolated to where he can come off a screen from another big man like a Tristan Thompson and
Mm-hmm.
get some easy 2-point baskets, some dunks and some stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
Somebody would have to
Like I said,
explain it.
man,
Somebody would have
Well,
to
I
explain
can.
to me what kind of offense that they are running.
they're
But
running
I.
a rec
Oh, go ahead.
league offense, man. It's a rec league offense.
For
It's
I mean,
pick
and
and
I will
roll,
say
pick and
for
roll,
a
pick and
layman
roll, pick
myself.
and roll, pick and
Well, I
roll,
mean,
pick and roll, pick and roll,
that's
pick and roll.
don't Philly run a pick and roll with James Harden? And I mean, those
But
guys
they
are a little bit different.
but guess what James is doing off of those screens? He's passing it to the shooters.
Yeah, very true. He does pass the ball,
He's number 2 in the league in assists
and we
as a
were the
shooting
only.
guard.
And on the roster right now, I mean, as
Come on,
injuries, the
man.
only passer we have right now is what Io.
Io, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it.
And when you make
Io.
him when you make him a true point guard, which I don't think he really is a true
He's
point
not
guard in
right
that
now.
sense,
Yeah,
especially
he's
not
not
right
right now.
now.
Mm-hmm.
You take away his offensive ability because when he's in that role, he's not aggressive.
There was a stretch when Aya was playing the best. He was probably the best rookie in the NBA as far as
And
being a
that's when he
pure
was
point
coming
guard.
off the bench.
When he was
Yep.
being the pure point, but no, when you start the game, your point guard does not have the ball in his hands. DeMar DeRozan has the ball. We don't know what these
And
guys are capable of.
that's
If
the
the
problem.
shooting guard is steady walking it up the court, playing ISO basketball, your mindset as a player is going to go to secondary. I got to do what I can when he passes me the ball. Your primary focus is not what you're being drafted for. When a guy like
Mm-hmm.
DeMar is on your team and he plays that way, it's not going to work, man. DeMar, as much as he's helped us this season, and I think he's great. His skill set is going to be great in the fourth quarters. When we get to the playoffs, I'm like, yo, get that goddamn ball to DeMar. When everybody is healthy, you know what I mean? We
Right.
don't have that luxury, so it's like whatever BD's doing with this offense, man. And it's not the fact that it's the offensive guys hurt, man. It's whatever his lack of. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, man. Whatever his lack of it is showing up every game. I don't get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and the thing is, I think he's also getting out coached when it comes to the players he has on the floor. When you have a guy like a James Harden who's been in the league and who knows what to do coming off these screens, he knows exactly what makes it work. And then when you got guys like Zach, that's why I said guys like Zach and other guys on the team, they have to grow up fast because now you're
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
with a guy who knows how to play, but
That's a good way to say that. Okay.
DeMar DeRozan cannot do everything. So when you coming off the screen, because like I said, when I'm a point guard, I'm telling my guy, hey, the best play I like to run was when you come off the screen, I tell my guy, go straight to the basket. I'm going to hit you every time. I throw that over the line pass, you're in the basket, you're good. But these guys, what they like to do is they like to get the ball, either shoot it, and then they're undecisive. And what does it lead to? A missed shot or a turnover.
I think also that may be an issue with Zach with him being partially not 100%. Is
100%.
that he's giving as the season has gone on and DeRozan has played lights out. He's giving more of his
East
like
Coast.
coming, huh?
he's coasting, pretty
I,
much.
I mean, I don't know if I would call it coasting. I just think that so the past 2-3 seasons, Zach, since he's been on the team, he's been the guy. He's been the only true offensive threat we've really had the past 3 seasons since he got here.
Mm-hmm.
And with a guy like DeRozan, as DeRozan has developed more into the guy who's putting up 25 plus, and although Zach is scoring 20, he's not as aggressive. And it's like he's kind of like stepping back and saying, well, shit, DeRozan got it. Like, I don't know if so beginning of the season, my concern was how is Zach going to respond to a guy like a ball dominant guard like DeRozan? And at first, that's why I thought there would be a 4 or 5 seed, because I was like, maybe Zach is like, man, this is my team, and I'm not about to let this guy come in and take my shots away. But as the season is going on, he's kind of like, well, he taking the shots and he making them, and I'm not that healthy right now, so I'm gonna just let him do his thing. You see me fading back, kind of like that meme from that Homer Simpson meme.
Homer Simpson meme.
I'm not saying he's disappearing in games. I'm just saying he doesn't seem, I guess, as aggressive. I don't know, maybe that's the wrong attitude.
But you're making the right assessment, and I've been saying that. I've been saying Zach should have been the number one option no matter who came in free agency. You look at Zach's tape from last year and the years before. You like, yeah, this dude is one of those guys. He needs the ball in his hand to get going.
And
Give him the
it seems
ball.
like he's playing different.
Yeah.
He's quicker. He's a better jump shooter. He can step back three. He can get to the lane. He can play at all 3 levels. But what do you have now? You have a guy that you brought in with a stronger personality to be an alpha. This is coming down to personality now. From a coaching standpoint, from DeMar DeRozan's personality to Zach LaVine's personality. So all that shit is, excuse my language, all that stuff is starting to ooze out when we starting to play these better teams. I, for one, has always said, Zach got to get Zach the ball. Get him going early in the old MJ fashion. Let him get his 8 points, his 9 points in a quarter, whatever he doing that first quarter. Sit him down. Our star guy, our elite shooting guard got his 8. Sit him down for a minute. And then let everybody else work inside. All this, okay, I'm gonna have him doing this, then have him doing this. That's not gonna work, man. No way DeMar DeRozan should have been the first option coming to this team. Period.
I don't think he was at the beginning of the season. I think they were kind of like 1A, 1B, depending on the night. Because there was a point where they were kind of taking turns. And then at some point, I don't know if it was because of the injury, DeRozan is starting to creep up into the guy who's taking the key shots and the key situations. I will say this has been some years. So Zach, I don't think he was that guy last year where when they first got Laurie, or especially Laurie Marketing in second year, where Zach was, dribble, and he would just wait to the last minute with the shot clock to get the guy the ball. And then a guy like Laurie Marketing gets the ball and he's like, damn, you gave me the ball with no time. I just got to jack up a shot. I'm taking either a bad shot or, turnover or whatever, or I don't know what to do with it. And I don't think he did it as much last year. But because he was such a guy, the ball's going to be in his hands more. It's just like, does he not know what to do when he's off ball? Is that it? Is he lost? Because if he's lost off ball, then that is coaching.
Right.
Yeah, and that's all I've been saying, because if I'm always going to try to keep my shooting guard or point guard, whoever the fastest, that got the best jump shot, even as a decoy, I'm going to keep this guy engaged. I'm going to keep him fresh, running off screens, whatever it needs to be done for him to keep him engaged. I'm going to need him down stretch for his shooting. So now the game goes along. Watching Billy Donovan, Zach is out of the game. It's probably your most athletic player on your team. You know what I mean? So I'm just seeing that, and I'm just like all the stuff I was having question marks about the beginning of the season. And I hate being right. Just like I just went to go watch the Batman, and I'm glad I was wrong. I watched the Batman today. I was glad I was wrong. So at this point, I didn't want to be right. I just knew Zach should have been he should be the first option, man. He should have been the first option. DeMar didn't do anything in his career to even get this type of respect that he's gotten. The ball in his hands like this.
I mean, so he was the guy in Toronto, and he is playing probably the best he's played offensively his entire career. He has gotten garnered that, because I'm shocked when he went on that streak of 35 games. I'm like, I've never seen this DeMar DeRozan ever. Like, there's always
but it's only working because it's a selfish brand of ball. You know what I
It's the
mean? And we
offense that
needed
he's
that.
running. It's the
It's the
offense.
offense that he's running. And when we had
Right.
Chris Fleming, the assistant coach, Chris Fleming was when BD got COVID, I seen Zach on the perimeter. It was space. Not Zach, but Vooch had the paint by itself. DeMar was all the way over there in the wing somewhere. Everybody had their space. So we were putting up 130 some points every night, but we weren't good as defensively, but we were
Right.
winning those games.
Yeah. And the
You know what
thing
I
is,
mean?
yeah. And the thing
So
is,
now
at the
that you
time we
got,
had, yeah, we
that's
had
yeah,
Lonzo at the time
it's
too. We
yeah,
had
right,
Lonzo at the
right,
time. So
right.
and
You
I
got
think
to
it,
right.
yeah, and not to cut you off, but as far as as far as Chris swimming, it's easier to point. It's the coach when you have a point guard that can run your show. And I still say the problem, one of the main problems with this team offensively, because I've seen they score 106 points. Um, the main problem is that they don't have a point guard. Let's be real. They don't have a true number one point guard. And then when you got teams that know that DeMar is their scorer, they're gonna do what they're gonna do against him. But it's Billy Donovan. You got to get the ball. You got to get the ball in the paint. And guy, let me ask you this question:
Yes, sir.
How many free throws did the Bulls shoot tonight?
It had to been like 8. It was low, man. I don't even think it was over 12 free
There you
throws.
go. Well, there you go. Now what do you think? And let me ask you this question again: where do you think that comes from? Is them shooting these stone free throws? What, is it guys not
Well,
being aggressive, not going to the basket? Because you saw the game tonight. So
hmm
what what do you think or why you think they didn't go to the lane enough? Was it
I
because of
mean,
Embiid or
yeah, it's a mixture of things, and I think the referees were pretty lopsided, and the Bulls have been getting we haven't been getting our share of calls the last 4 or 5 games as far as free throws, and tonight was another example of that. But when you play ball, see, this is the thing about having I hate to say this, but a killer instinct, a killer mindset.
mm,
When you're not getting some guys when they don't get foul calls, they shrink. You know what I mean? They kind of slow down. I'm not getting the calls. So I done got hit a few times. So they're not as aggressive,
right because they're too
and
emotional?
they're too emotional.
Hmm.
So and that's not necessarily like a knock on guys. That's just part of the game. But I
Hmm.
definitely think that it was the referees tonight. I hate to be that person, but just watching it and just being objective to it, it was lopsided, man. It was just a lopsided uh, game as far as refereeing. It's just
So
I don't
what?
know,
But
man.
what? But were they being aggressive? Because they weren't.
Yeah,
They
Zach was
be
getting to the rim. DeMar got hit a few times. Tristan got hit a few times. There was a cause where Embiid should have got his offensive calls, offensive fouls called up. Didn't happen. He was flopping. There was one play that they would run out of bounds. Him and Javante Green for a loose ball, and the ball's going out of bounds. Javante Green's going one way. Embiid is throwing his whole 7'1", 280-pound body at Javante Green. Foul on Javante Green. They overturned the foul on Embiid when Zach LaVine was going to the lane, got smacked. They reviewed it, no foul call. So
Oh wow.
you're not giving teams a fair balance of having a mental edge or a competitive edge to continue to play the game hard. But like I say, what I'm seeing is BD's teams don't play hard until the fourth quarter of these last 5 games, despite the guys that we got out. So I'm like, oh, it's weird, man. It's just weird. It's just really weird.
So so the next 3 games, or including because they've already played tonight. The next 3 games are at Detroit, home game versus Cleveland, who has had some injury issues. They're slipping in the standings, and
Yeah,
at
they just lost
Sacramento.
Jared Allen. Just to, not to
Right.
cut you off,
But
they just
we
lost
need
Jared
a
Allen.
break, man. We need a break, man. We as fans, we I've asked for this personally, so I really don't have a lot of issue with what's going on. But just as far as breaking the game down, and looking at it from like just a analysis standpoint,
Because
there's holes
really,
in. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, just looking at because I'm looking at their schedule. So this upcoming week they play Detroit, like I said, at Detroit, home in Cleveland, and then at Sacramento. But then they kind of go on the West Coast 3 game streak. But the next, if you include tonight,
Hmm.
they're away for the next 5 out of 6 games. So away today they were away.
Man,
They're away at Detroit. They're home at Cleveland. Then they got 3 straight away games with Sacramento, Utah, and then Phoenix. Then
Wow.
they come back
Wow.
home. Then they come back home versus. Sorry, they come back home for the Raptors, and then they got 5 straight away games: Milwaukee, New Orleans, Cleveland, New York, Washington. So that second span, that's a total of 5. That's like 12, 11 games. So they're
Man, pray
away
for Alex.
2, 5. That's like 10. They're away for 10 of the next 12 games.
Man, pray for Alex Caruso to come back, man. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if they don't get this offense going and to where they can get a consistent offense going to where they go into the basket and everybody get easier shots, we can see the Bulls drop from what position they in now?
They're
Fourth?
fourth. They're in the 4th seed now.
We can see them drop from 4 to 9 in the amount of 2 weeks.
You think they're gonna drop all the
So
way to where Brooklyn is?
they can.
Because
No.
because I mean
I don't think that.
I don't think they're gonna drop that much. I'm just looking at the schedule. So like I said, Detroit, Cleveland, Sacramento, Utah. They play Phoenix at home. Then they're home. They play Phoenix in Phoenix, and they're home versus Toronto, and then they got the Bucks again. They got the Pelicans, who have been better since CJ McCollum has been there. Then they got the Cavs at home, who have injury. They're against the horrible ass Knicks. The Knicks have just like fallen off the fucking cliff, and then they're home. They're
They
at
off the cliff.
yeah. So yeah, the next 10 of 12, next 10 of 12 games are all away games.
And I think, and it's not gonna, and I hate to say this, it's just gonna be. I think we still gotta grow, man. Like a lot of these teams we're playing against are battle tested. Wolves, this team this year has not been battle tested. That's a part of a team's growth to get better, to beat good teams, and people can't expect us or the fan base to expect us to just skip certain steps. This is part of the process. This is how the Bulls lost to the Pistons. You're gonna lose before you win. You know what I'm saying? When Kobe shot that air ball in 1998 or whatever it was, and then he came back, he was better in 2008. You have to experience failure. You know what I mean? To understand what it takes to win. So, they just got to go through this gauntlet, man, and they're gonna be better because of it. I don't think we're gonna get worse. I just think that this point in this team's journey right now, this year, this is exactly what's supposed to happen. You know what I mean? And luckily, we do have guys coming back that is going to have an immediate impact on defense, and guys can get covered up. Just like Zach was covering up, Patrick Williams couldn't average 16 points. He's going to cover up. Zach LaVine can't guard the team's best offensive player. So it's a very complimentary. Yeah, it's a very complimentary team. You know what I mean? So that's going to be the same way. Everybody's going to get insulated and covered all over again when those guys get back. As a fan base, it feels like we're 15 and 30 something when we're not. We're 30, 38 and 19 or something like that. So, but just to watch it, you know what I mean? It's just hard to watch sometimes because I know that they can play harder for 4 quarters. That's the thing. You can play. Don't give me that. You can play harder, and you have to. And BD, I don't need
4 quarters for 4 quarters.
And I don't even know if BD is that guy to get on guys' ass like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a whole thing about a team's personality with their coach. Now, BD, he's a great communicator. He talks well. You know what I'm saying? He loves his guys. He loves his players.
Good
He's a good motivator. You know what I'm saying? I love his post games, man. The dude give a post game like a college professor, man. I love to hear it, but I think that he got to get these guys to play harder for 4 quarters because we don't know when Alex Caruso is coming back. Is it the next game? Is it when is Lonzo coming? Is it the game after that? So it's like you can't keep using that excuse when you're not playing hard for 4 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's my big thing. That's the thing I took away from this 5-game stretch is they want to try to win at the end, and it's like, nah, man, you're just not gonna work, bro.
Again, that goes on to that turning on and turning off. You can't play like that, especially when you got guys that are out and really, Zach, as much as hurt as he is, he gotta be more vocal with those young guys on the floor because, at the same time we see DeMar is passionate with the stuff he gets. DeMar got several technical fouls.
He tore a Gatorade towel in half on the sideline. He just tore a towel. Why didn't you snap? Why don't you yell at the guys on the court? See, that's the thing about leadership and why guys get traded for other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership vocally is one of the most underrated things in sports or in any relationship that you need to. And some guys don't have it, man. Zach is not a talker on the court.
He's not.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say no. So yeah. So
Yeah,
I agree. Some people. I mean, you can't make a guy do something he's not comfortable with. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. Totally. Yeah.
so I'm not going to say that he's not a leader because he's not vocal. He just may not be. He may be a more silent leader or a guy who says things behind the screens or a leader by example. DeRozan, from just over his career, he doesn't seem like a super boisterous guy. I know that even when he was
Yeah, he doesn't
unhappy with
seem.
it, even when he was unhappy, he was unhappy with his role in San Antonio. He still didn't. He still never talked bad about the organization or popping nothing like that. So he's not a voice guy. So the only people you have who are talkers is a guy like Caruso, who is a free agent guy who's kind of a six man. You got none of the guys on the team are really talkers like that. I don't believe. It's
And that could spell disaster going down the road because one guy, the best communicator on the team, that's a six man for your defense went down. Our defense went from number 1 to 32 when that kid left. Man.
Yep.
yeah.
That is an
But
issue
yeah,
about
because
the team
I'm trying.
personality.
I'm going through the roster. I'm
that
like, Vooch is not a vocal guy.
Right, right,
You just
right.
said the only person you saw get boisterous today was Tristan, kind of getting in. Whose ass did he get into today
oh,
about defense?
that was Zach LaVine with the Atlanta game. I believe it was when
Yeah,
Zach
yeah, 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 yeah.
let that guy when he let that guy go straight to the basket. And he just started running down the court. And
hmm
Tristan pointed at him like, "Yo, what is you doing? Like, look at what you just did."
Because
Right.
it's so obvious when you look
Right.
at it when you're playing competitive ball. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, now we're playing real teams, and it's like the guy. If you got a guy like Tristan Thompson that's been to 4 NBA Finals, that's played with a champion, and he's gonna naturally point out things like that. So it's good for our team. Like I said, I just think we're still getting battle tested. I still think we're growing. You know what I mean? And having a guy like Tristan Thompson does help your team. So
And
as a
and
leader vocally, so yeah,
no, I was gonna say, and just personally, that's why I thought that they wouldn't be ready this year. I just thought there was too much new stuff to going on. And I know earlier you were like, man, you can see this team in the finals if this team, and even if this team gets healthy, I just don't think they're ready. Like we don't see teams who
Not in the first year of being created
yeah,
like this. To
you
be,
don't see teams go to the finals like this. Like the people were just talking shit about Giannis because he's not winning. I'm like, dude, Giannis ain't even 30 yet. Y'all already talk about he can't win. I
right.
mean, I think, but I think it's a weird window. Because it's not like a window in football, because a window in football can close immediately. And yeah, it can close in the NBA that too, but it's a weird window because we only have two guys in their 31, which is Vooch and
Lamar, yeah.
Boost
and
Demar
Tristan. But
and
Tristan just
Tristan,
came on the
so it's
team.
three.
So I don't really count him because he just got on the team. So you got those two guys. And the question is whether you keep those guys after next year. Can this team maintain them getting better and growing to keep their window for the next 3 to 5 years? When really maybe 2 to 4. I think
Yeah.
5 years
Yeah,
is
I
a
say two
long.
to four. I
I
say
think
two.
5 years
No,
is a
two to
long
three.
window.
Two to
Yeah, two to
three.
three,
Two to
right?
three.
2 to 3.
Two
But
to three.
Unless
Because
you're
guys,
mm-hmm.
because
unless you're gonna
just
get
to say this, guys are gonna tune the coach out. That happens on every team. Because I've seen instances in the season where where Zach was, he might say he loved Billy Donovan, but when that offense is playing, and I'm looking at Zach like, man, Zach should have the ball right here. Zach need to go here. Even though he's been hurt this year, I'm like, man, Zach should really have this ball. We should be going through him. But it seems like it's not been happening all season. So guys,
And I
they could
yeah.
go ahead, CJ.
And I yeah, not yeah, and that's a good point. But also, I just think that Zach is not gonna, even though he can do it, I still think you can see that knee bother him. You can see
Yeah,
it.
that needs bothering. But
You
he
can
played
see
well
it.
though the
Yeah,
other
he
game,
played
yeah.
well, but the best game I thought he had was when he dropped 30 something. And remember, in that game, like you said, he got off to a hot start. So when you give him the
hmm
ball like that, it's with him. When you give him the ball like that, he get a hot start. A hard start, excuse me. He's gonna feel that. He's gonna continue that. So that's why I
Right.
said this Bulls team. has to
But
figure out who
but
gonna
that
be
goes
number
back to
one.
what coach
Right.
was saying though about is Zach loafing or is he not? Is he hurt? Because it seems like he's kind of just playing a role to get paid. I'm like, this
I
is.
mean, I wouldn't consider loaf. It's just like kind of like, well, he's like it's like he's stepping aside. Now I'm not saying he's hiding himself or he's being timid. Sometimes guys can feel the air in a room like, oh, this guy is more. He's something I'm not doing right now, so maybe I should just let him do his thing, and I'm gonna play that second fiddle. But maybe we don't need a one and a clear two. Maybe we need a 1A and a 1B. Um, kind of
But it's coming
like
down to coaching. Then it's coming down to coaching because I'm
You
getting,
gotta.
I'm getting confused because I'm like, I see Demar and what he can bring to the table. Man, like we're gonna need this dude come play up time the way he slow that ball down, get to the
Right.
middle of the floor.
Yeah.
It started fourth quarter and he's doing what he's been doing. But I see
and
the
we
game
are
where
we are going
Zach
to
is
need him, but
like, yo,
we also need these other guys to make shots. We also need him to pass the ball. That way he
yeah,
won't get
yeah,
those automatic. Because if we play the same way, even if especially if we don't get hurt, they just gonna double team him. They gonna double team him,
Right.
double team
right,
in the playoffs.
And that's
And
why I
especially if you were
said.
not passing
hmm And
outside of the
right.
double
And
team.
yeah,
and that
and we
that's
missing
why.
threes like Kobe. Yeah, go ahead, CJ. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that's why it's been rumors that the Bulls need to pick up another point guard. Because it's the thing is that you can see it in the game. They don't have a true point guard. And that's why I said when Caruso's on the floor, he commands that defense. And that's why I said with him and Tristan Thompson, when those two play off that bench, watch how the rest of those guys, they're gonna be so locked in on the perimeter and around that paint because you got two guys that are vocal that can do
Hmm.
that. That we know that's set when those guys come back, and I'm just talking about moving
Yeah,
forward because
that's
we're about to get ready to wrap this up real soon. But with those two guys, we know it's set at that spot. The concerning that the thing that concerns me is the starting group because now okay, you got Demar there. Who's gonna be that vocal guy for the defense in that starting group?
right,
That's going to
right.
be the point. Who's going to hold Vucevic accountable when he has to be in certain spots on the floor? So that's why I said Billy Donovan got a tough decision to make. Are you going to play Tristan in that starting lineup at the four, or are you going to put him in a backup role? That's something that we need to look into with these next several weeks coming up and with these guys coming back, because he's going to
That's
have
right.
to make a
Yeah,
decision, and whatever decision that he makes, he's going to have to stick with that decision going into playoffs.
absolutely, totally, man. And the Bulls to this point, like I said, Eastern Conference Finals team. When all the complimentary guys come back, it's scary what they could do defensively with Lonzo, Caruso, Patrick Williams, Tristan Thompson, Ayo Dosunmu. When they're healthy, that's a scary
And we got
team
to
because
just hope
guys,
that they all come
yeah,
back. They
they
have
can't.
to. Like if they
Right.
don't if they come back and they're all rusty, then we're
You're toast.
Well,
Right, there you
look,
go.
we ha-
Yeah,
we
that's
we
true.
have to we have to expect that for 5 games. We got to say, okay, we got to let them tune in and time in. 5 games. We know defensively they're gonna probably be locked in after game three.
Yeah,
Offensively,
yeah,
we don't know.
yeah.
We just don't
and
know
is
offensively what's
and
gonna happen.
is any of them dudes gonna be like, hey, DeMar, yo, you got to pass out that double team? Because
Caruso gonna tell them.
but then I would say if those
There
guys are
you go.
there, I know they're not playing, and sometimes you kind of don't want to listen to a guy who's not playing on the bench. But why
Hmm.
like? But if you're considered some form of a team leader, why aren't you in the ear of that guy while you on the bench? Like you watching the game like everybody else is watching.
I think there's a lot of ego involved in stuff like this, man, and a lot of pride, and a lot of you don't want to step on the next guy's toes.
Yeah, step on
That's
that
why the
guy's
guys that
toes.
are,
Yeah.
guys that are vocal. I consider them the guys the best leaders. You know what I'm saying? LeBron is great, not only because he's physically and he can, and, he's a all timer. He could play offense deep. LeBron communicates.
Yeah, he does.
When he's on his prime, LeBron telling you to go here, man. Hey, go there, man. Hey, man, why you not crashing boards?
Hmm
When you don't have that guy,
Not on
you
defense.
got DeMar. Well, yeah, not on defense. I'll give him
Not
that.
no more. Not no more. He's be pointing.
But when you got,
He's be
but when you
pointing.
got, but back to
Right.
CJ's point was you got an elite shooting guard like Zach, and you have a pretty much veteran, tough dude, small forward like DeMar, and you pretty much got an above average center out of three guys. None of them are a vocal guy. Come
Yeah,
on, bro. Like that's gonna be tough.
that's what I
So
said.
we need Caruso.
And
Yes, we're gonna
Lonzo
need them dudes back, man.
and Lonzo is not vocal neither. So where is it going to come in your starting lineup? That's the decision that they're going to have to make. Is Tristan Thompson going to be that four
They
that we
just gonna
talked about?
they
That
just gonna
four that
defer
we've been
to
talking
Demar.
about all
You
season
got four
long.
quiet ass dudes on the court. They just gonna all defer to Demar. That's what's gonna happen. These motherfuckers
I
gonna be on the
love I
court
love the way the
like
conversation went to
like
this way, man, about
like
personalities,
five
man. That's cool, man.
not five blind mouths, but like five sewn mouth dudes from what's that movie Hocus Pocus with dude who had his mouth sewn closed. Like
Mm-hmm.
all five of them dudes, don't let them. That's starting five when they come back. Boosh don't talk. Um,
Patrick,
Patrick
Patrick
don't
Williams, if
talk.
he's there,
he like Kawhi. He like Kawhi.
yeah.
Demar don't talk. Lonzo don't talk.
Right. It's like
Like, I
I'm
mean,
not trying.
they talk, but they ain't like,
They not vocal.
Not like the Pistons in
can,
'04
can
with
you really?
Chauncey and all them guys telling, hey
No, but
man, who
them, no,
behind me? Who
no, but
behind
them
me? Who
dudes
telling?
talk though. Those dudes
That's what I'm
talk.
saying. That's what I'm
Like,
saying. They're not the '04 Pistons. Yeah, go ahead.
so them, somebody got to say something.
Yeah, like
Somebody,
right,
somebody got to
right,
say something more than just give somebody a look like.
Yeah,
right.
even even
Like,
Stacey King been saying it. When he's televising the game, that guys got to talk on defense. He's been saying that all season long, and that and at times when Caruso even not on the floor, or whatever, we've seen that. So this team still does not talk on defense, and I think they're gonna have to learn how to do that. Moving into whatever playoff position they're going to be in, they're going to have to do that.
Because like I said, Lonzo wasn't. Like I say, Zach doesn't even play defense until Caruso was on the court.
Right.
Zach was, because you know what I mean. He was a way better defender when Caruso was out there with him. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
why did somebody have to make you do these things?
it's holding people
You know,
accountable because their voice, because his voices. But no
I
one's
get it,
gonna,
but I don't get it
no
at the
one's,
same time. Like,
I mean,
man,
I understand, but it's like if no one's not really holding your feet to the fire, and then if I don't know if Billy Donovan is not, or maybe Zach ain't listened. I don't know. None of us know because we're not in there. But it does seem from the outward looking in that there's no voice. The team does not have a voice. A
And
guy
again,
who's actively healthy, who's saying, "Hey man, we got to get our shit together."
yeah, the thing is that you got to have that coach on the floor. You got to have that
yeah,
guy that's going to hold your teammates accountable. One thing that people would ask you about me, if I played, I was very vocal with my guys, very vocal, because the thing is, you have to constantly keep talking and constantly keep letting guys know, like, hey, this guy's gonna be coming up a pick. Either he's setting pick to the left, setting pick to the right. Make sure if this guy's a shooter, don't go so over the pick so fast. Just little different things that you have to know. And I'm very curious in how these guys are gonna do that moving forward. I mean, with that being
I
said,
think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Lonzo. I think as much as Lonzo's not aggressive, he has a way. Like I've seen Lonzo
by his play,
switch on defense,
hmm
and no one told him to switch multiple times. He just picked guys up. So,
yeah,
like you said, defensively, I think they're just gonna get in there and click. You know what I mean? But that's a luxury that we had when they were healthy. See,
hmm
now the team doesn't have them luxuries. Now we're looking at guys to just play harder, bro. We
right.
know you're not Caruso. We know you're not Patrick Williams. We know you're not. Bro, can you get this team to play hard for 4 quarters? Just sneak out a win?
Yeah, and the
Just
thing
sneak
is,
out a
yeah,
win.
the thing is, man, if you're gonna lose by 1 or 2 points, that would at least let us know that you at least had some effort, and the team was just a little bit better by making them play.
Bingo.
That
Bingo.
would make me happy. It's not
The
about,
bingo.
okay. It's not about, do we think the Bulls are going to be a championship team? I never said
Right.
that they wasn't going to be no championship
Right.
team this year. I said that
Right.
they can make some noise in the playoffs. As far as how
Right.
they go, but they
Right.
have to start maturing as the season goes along. You have to give a
Bingo.
dialogue to your progression as the season goes along. And if you're in the
Bingo.
same limelight to where, okay, we just lost Caruso, we just lost Alonzo, we don't have our perimeter guys, so we just gonna try to outscore teams. You can't outscore teams in this league. We have to play some type of defense. You have to
And not
talk on
this team.
defense. You have to score. And you're not gonna outscore teams. I don't care if you got three Zach Levines out there. If you can't play defense, you're not going to win.
Bingo. And that's what it come down to. That's what it's coming down to for me, man. It's just like just playing defense because you can measure it. Okay, if they lost to these guys by what we lose by 11 some points like that, I would think a team that's coming to the playoff, the losses that we might suffer, I think the margins of losing would be a little bit closer, like by 2, by 3, by 6, and one or something weird that some happened at the end of the game where it's just like, well, we lost that one. Not for a whole 4 quarters. You know what I'm saying? And then
Playing
it's like,
underwhelming.
yeah, and it's like, yo, what is this? That's why I was kind of quiet earlier. I'm like, yo, this is kind of weird, man. Like, why are we playing harder in the 4th quarter instead of the guys don't know what they're supposed to do on offense? Are they tired of seeing DeMar isoing and they're not into it? Like, because guys seem like they're not into the games till the end of the game. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is needed. And it seems like some guys are either not they not engaged into playing on both ends. Because I want to see guys hustle on both ends, not just on the offensive end when you know you're gonna get your shot and you're trying to get your shot, or you just standing around waiting for DeMar to hit a shot. Just to go down. Guys got to be more engaged into doing the little things on the court. The little things that count on the court as far as hustling, getting second chance points, getting opportunities for your teammates to get second and third shots. That's the Bulls' main problem. The second and third shots.
It's hustle.
Shots.
Hey, it's hustles like you said,
Yeah.
CJ. It's coming down to heart and hustle because that's all I can see. I'm not asking you to be what you're not. You know what I mean? I'm just asking you to play harder.
Yeah,
I don't want you to be something that you just play harder. And but like I said, I don't know what it's starting to look like the coaching, man. It's just really starting to look like the coaching. And Zach Levine he's been making some errors, man, and it's like to the point to where it's contributing to losing that it's so obvious and he's not. It's bad. It's got
They went from winning 3 or 4 to this. They're on a 4-game losing streak as of now, and they've only really looked good in 2
tonight.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, the 5th straight game that they've lost. And in the East, what somebody said the stat, I don't know how accurate it was. Maybe it was a week ago. The difference between 1 and 9 is what 2-3 games.
Yeah, it's very the margin is very.
No. I think because somebody we're at least 6-7 games. Yeah, it's like 6 games. 7 games separating first through 9th. Like the first 4 teams are like clogged, like jammed. But we got cushion between. I know Brooklyn is bad. I know they got a worse record than us. So I know if we're 4th, they got to be 9th or 10th or something weird.
They're barely 500 essentially.
Yeah, so it's like only thing we can hope for at this point is other teams beat the teams that we can't beat, and we go up in the rankings one day. Then with a 3rd seed, he did with a 2nd seed. It's like, unfortunately, we're going to have to just, play the whole. These teams going to just destroy each other until we get us a good spot until guys get back healthy. Because I don't think this team is. I don't know. I don't know if we can play harder or not, but we need the guys that. Yeah, I don't know.
Definitely have to play better, and we got to hope that we get these guys back and they shake off enough rust. Because if these guys come back. Only 2-3 games before the playoffs, man. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah, that's a tight window, and that's tough.
Especially when teams are healthy and you haven't been. Like the great thing about it is we got guys coming back. But other teams are well-oiled machines at the top of the conference. So it's like, ain't nobody waiting on you to get your rhythm when we get to that dance. Ain't nobody waiting on that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make this last point. A lot of you see the teams that's always at the top. Those are the teams who've been around for either 1 or 2 years already. This team has only been around this season. That's why my expectations weren't as high as maybe everyone else's. When they started winning games, I was shocked more than anything. So the expectation was to get to the playoffs, but for them to play this well has been definitely an overachieved. But at the same time, injuries and stuff is going to occur. And can the guys that's not used to playing the positions, can those guys step up? I thought,
right.
I still think Ayo has done the best he could. I have nothing bad to say about Ayo right now. But as far as the veterans like Vooch, Zach, those guys have to be, those guys have to lead by their play on the floor. And
Mhm.
Hmm.
those guys are only gonna the other guys that's behind them are only gonna see what those guys are doing. So hopefully those guys will get in tune and really start, trying to get back on track as far as winning these games. So we gotta see what happens, but they're gonna have to do it on the defensive end, which is rebounding, hustling. They're gonna have to do that first. They can score points. We're not saying they can't score, but you have to get the hustle points. You have to get the rebounds. You have to play as a team. And Billy Donovan even called that out 2 weeks ago, and we're seeing the same thing. So Billy knows what's going on. It's the fact that he got to put it together with his coaching as far as guys being in the correct spots and knowing what they got to do. But those guys have to play as well. So it's on both the players and the coaches
Right.
as well.
Yep. Yep.
But other than that, that's it,
Totally
man.
agree.
That's all I gotta say on the Bulls. If y'all want to add anything else, y'all can. But I think that's the end of my take on the Bulls.
Just play harder, bro. That's all I got. Like, you hit it on the head. Coach said everything that made sense. Man, y'all right, man. Like everything we're saying, but at the end of the day, it's just about playing harder. Like we can go to the nuances and the injuries and the X and O's and
Mm-hmm.
man, just play harder, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yep.
all we're saying.
Yep. Exactly. Well, fellas, we're 2.5 hours in. I think this was a very good podcast show. I really believe it was. From the time that Ahmad has came in, and we carried that on into guy coming on with the Bulls talk. I think this is one of our best shows, and we
Oh wow.
appreciate everybody who stopped by. But we're gonna go ahead and give our thanks as far as the show and whatnot and what we usually do every podcast show. So, Guy, if you want to go ahead and start it off, brother, the floor is yours.
Oh man, just to give y'all the update on some personal stuff. My son had his first AAU games this weekend in Aurora, man, and it was a life lesson that got taught. He wasn't feeling well, but I told him like, look, man, everything in life, you're not just gonna be able to quit. You have to tough it out. So he played 3 games under the weather, and then the last game he took off. Man, he had 10 points, two for three from three, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, and it was just to see him grow mentally and physically. Uh, just still teaching him life things like you just can't give up, man. You owe it to your teammates to go try. So he went out
Right.
there and tried, and he thugged it out, man. And he had heart. He was mentally tough. So just want to give him thanks and shout out to that, man. And that's it, man. Just
Hey,
wanted to see him
hey,
persevere.
word.
Like,
I'm surprised
yeah,
you.
man.
I'm surprised you ain't hit it with that. That the Yoda. There is no try. There is only do. Or whatever. What's that Yoda quote?
Yeah,
Hey,
something
yeah,
like that.
man. So just to see him, man, just not be what I know he's capable of being for 3 games. It just kind of just was out there. I don't know if it was an 8-hour flu or something weird or whatever it was, man. The last game it just clicked. So it was beautiful to see. Toughness, man. You know what I'm saying? Young men need that. But and thanks for you guys for bringing me in. I didn't know you were gonna bring me back because I saw you guys
Oh
had
yeah.
your guests. I was like,
Oh
man,
no,
they were doing
we
their
was gonna
thing.
get the bull. We got it's still
Yeah,
bull season. We still got to
we
get
knew we
that
was gonna
Bulls
get on the
talk.
Bulls. Yeah, we knew we was gonna get on
Yeah.
the Bulls, and I tried to, with the mob, we tried to, get into a time stamp, and we get so much into it. Sometimes they go by, but we knew that,
Yeah, and all
once we
y'all
got
football
Ahmad,
guys, man. So I know how that go.
yeah. So the thing is, we knew you was watching the Bulls game, so I just want you to give an insight on that. But
Just play harder,
kind of,
man.
yeah,
That's
very
it.
disappointed, but yeah, it's disappointing. But Coach, anything you want to add, man?
Yeah,
And how
just
about your
wanted to.
coaching clinic, man? The coaching
It
thing
was
you do.
cool, man. I learned a lot. It's been a while since I've been in that type of setting, and it just shows me how much I've missed coaching. There's a lot that I have to do from now until the beginning of the season. There's a lot I have to do between now until like beginning of camp. I think in Illinois you can't even like practice until July. Also because CPS don't get out to damn near mid June. But I did. It was a 3 day, glacier clinic. I was pretty much there from beginning to end every day. Like I was one of the coaches who I stayed until some of the last sessions to pick up as much information. Spent a little money trying to learn some stuff like learning the wing tee, which might be an offense that I am completely not familiar with, but
Mm.
based on the number of kids we have in the program at DuSable. I got to meet a handful of them today, and we just, man, it's gonna be. a lot of work, and yeah. So that's one of the players was like, "Yeah, coach, I heard you the offensive coordinator." He was already at me. Clearly an offensive lineman. He was like, "So what, coach? What offense we running?" I was like, "Young man, we are far. we we ain't even got that far yet, dog. we got a long way to go before we start talking about what offense." But
Hey, that youth was on you. That youth was like, "Hey, what's up?
yeah, right.
What's going
Yeah,
on?"
But
what's going on?
I'm leaning toward. I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm leaning toward I might have to learn an offense that I have know nothing about. Wing T. I mean, things could change. I might implement some wing T type stuff, but based on we don't look like we're gonna have a lot of kids. The kids are not the biggest or most athletic kids. Sometimes you gotta shrink some things down and do a lot of misdirection, and that's what the wing T does. A lot of misdirection. It's easy to spread people out, but if you can get people to not follow their keys, with counters and pulling and
Hmm.
counter traps and all that stuff, then you can get an advantage. Also, kills clock. So yeah, I got I got a lot to take care of. But clinic was good. I really enjoyed it. It was 2 days off of work, but it felt like work. felt like I really
Oh, the
felt like
grind
work.
don't stop, man.
Right, right.
Dude, man.
I messed
Mm.
around and I don't live that far from Oak Brook. The clinic was in Oak Brook, the Hilton in Oak Brook. But I was like, but some coaches get a hotel room, especially the coaches from out of town. But even some of the local CPS coaches, they get some rooms, whatever. I think day two, I thought I got some sleep, man. Between the afternoon sessions and the dinner session, night session, man, I went to the car and tried to give me a quick nap. Like I was tired, like.
Man.
But it was good. So shout out to the Glacier Clinic. Shout out to Coach Holmes. One of the most entertaining clinic sessions I've been around. Coach Holmes is a older white guy out of Dublin, Georgia. He runs the Wing T, and I'm telling you, to sit in his sessions was pure gold, man. Like the guy, like he exudes so much confidence, man. So much confidence. But he's been running the same system for like 30 years. Small town Georgia, but he's had some athletes. He's really good. He's a really good speaker, really good communicator. Um, and it was really enjoyable. His sessions were really enjoyable. And the only bad part about it was there were some sessions that you wanted to go to, but they were at the same time. So he's kind of like, man, what do I really need? I sat in on a lot of offensive line sessions because I'll probably be have to be more integral to working with linemen and blocking scheme and stuff like that. So that just is not. But I mean, I could go another hour about that. But
Right.
the clinic was good. I got to meet some kids today. Um, Shout out to Ahmad. Thank you for coming on. It was good to talk to a fellow athlete, a guy who was successful in playing 4 years of college ball, something I fell short on. Thanks, a guy for coming on. Thanks, CJ, as always. That's about. Oh, my head coach, Konisha Ray. Thank you for reaching out, letting me give me this opportunity. Still got a long way in applying in the application process, but step by step. That's really it, man. I don't have a whole lot. That's it.
Okay, okay. Well, to start it off, I want to say, first guy, congratulations to your son, and I hope he does very well as far as winning his football as AAU and keep
Basketball.
striving. I'm sorry, yeah, basketball, and keep striving for the best. That's all we can teach the kids. Strive for the best. Don't give up and just keep trying hard because this world is a cold place.
Yeah,
If you don't
man.
have that mindset to go out there and get things done, it's gonna hurt you in a lot of ways. But
Yeah, this
shout out to your
America will
son.
crush you, man.
Yeah,
America
shout
will
out.
crush you, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Shout out to your son and hope for the best for him. Coach, hey man, 16 episodes in, but at the same time, congratulations to your coaching opportunity.
Congrats, bro.
Wishing all the best for you, man, and definitely, man, we want to hear the stories. We
Still
know
got
it's
a
gonna be
long
some
way,
good
man.
stories.
Still
Yeah,
got
it's gonna be
months.
some
Guess
good
we got some months
stories.
before the ground really hit. But I got a lot of work
Yeah,
to do behind the scenes. But yeah.
yeah, we definitely can't wait for the stories, man, and
Yeah, for real, for real.
we looking forward to it on and off the podcast. So we just looking forward to that, man, and I just want to say best of luck to you on that, and wishing all the best for you for that as well. So definitely And also,
Yeah, and I think if Terrence, I mean to interrupt you, I think Terrence sent me a friend request. Is that his name, Terrence?
Yeah.
Nichols?
T
Okay.
Nick. Yeah. Terrence Nichols.
T
Yeah.
Nick. And
T Nick.
I was calling Terrence Nick T last week, and my
Yeah, he
dumb
sent me a
ass
friend
hit
request.
me up.
Yeah, see, coach,
And I
Oh
was
hey, coach
calling
man.
pick
him
right up on it. I'm like, yeah, coach gonna pick up
Nick
on
T.
this, man.
And
Nick
I was
T. I
trying to
didn't
like
realize I
come
was
back
calling him
around
Nick
with
T
it.
last week. My dumb ass called him Nick T, and it's T Nick. So my
Okay,
bad,
see Nick. All
my
right.
bad. But
I just want to be
yeah,
clear. I'm like, yo, this is like the guy. All right, cool, got it.
yeah. But
That's the man right there.
yeah, most definitely.
All
But
right.
also we got to give shout outs to everyone who pulled through tonight on the podcast with these comments. First was Frank Marshall, telling everybody what's up on the podcast. Frank, we appreciate you stopping by. You've always been a supporter of all the podcast shows that we got this weekend. And speaking of the podcast shows, they all, I believe, have special guests coming up on, I think, Tuesday, which is tomorrow. The Chicago Clubhouse Podcast has a special guest coming up, Tim Jennings.
Oh,
He will
nice.
be, yeah, he will be on the podcast show, on their podcast show for tomorrow, and also Wednesday. She said what she said. They have the Rockford Police Chief. I don't remember what her name was, but they have her coming on the podcast show. That's going to be interesting. So that podcast show, I'm gonna try to, at least watch that if I can to see exactly what she had to say, because it's very that's very interesting to having a law enforcement person coming onto the show and to give their expertise, on different things and whatnot. So that's going to be very interesting, interesting as far as that show. And of course, Bears fan with a brain coming on Thursday with their show and whatnot. So make sure you guys who support the Chicago Clubhouse Network, make sure you guys go out and watch those shows that's coming up this week. Also, leave a like on those videos, please, you guys. All those shows need a like. We need y'all support. It's free. It ain't gonna cost y'all nothing. So please make sure y'all go and
We
like
got
the
to get some
shows.
animation, man. We got to get
Yeah,
some animation besides me doing this thumb thing. We got to get
yeah,
some thumbs
we
to
gonna
pop up randomly.
we gonna have to talk. We gonna have to talk with Alan about adding some animations
Yeah,
in.
we got to get
Since
some
he's the
animation,
guy
some get to
that
know.
likes to throw in that stuff in. Maybe I can talk to him about that, and maybe I can start, doing some editing and stuff and all about that. So we'll see what happens with that. But want to give a shout, definitely a shout out to Frank Marshall. Shout out to my mom who actually stopped by, who actually surprised me because I didn't think she was going to type.
Hey,
I didn't think she was going to type this in, but mom, I appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, mom.
Yeah,
Mama
of course
Scott.
she's here to not just support me but also support Ahmad. Ahmad has been real close to our family. It's been many a times that he's came to our house for the summers. I spent many a times with Ahmad and his brothers over the summer. But I definitely appreciate mom stopping by.
And to the whole
Um,
Scott clan. We had a lot of family tune in for this show as well as his
mhm,
teammates. So yeah, man,
right,
that's hey.
and
Come
shout out
on
to
back now, you hear? Come on
yeah,
back.
yeah,
Come on for
definitely.
another episode.
We gotta talk. Yeah, we
I know
gotta have to
everybody
talk
ain't from
about that.
If the Bulls
Chicago.
keep losing all these games, y'all gonna see me. Yo, I was at a sport today. I was like, yeah, man, we're not playing hard, and I'm just starting to question some
I
guys.
did,
I don't know. Hey, keep
yeah,
on. It's
and
gonna
I
turn up.
I did not see the score. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't look at the score one time today, so I didn't know if they were
Man,
winning or losing. So yeah,
Yeah, that game must have been earlier. I know it was the East Coast game because they were in
6 o'clock.
Philly.
6 o'clock.
Okay, because I'm gonna
Okay,
say it was
so
over. It was over before 8. I was like, as
yeah,
soon
it
as
was.
we got off the
Yeah,
interview when we brought you on, I was like, damn, the game over already.
Yeah, the game.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's crazy. So shout out to Ahmad's brother for stopping by. Also Antonio for stopping by as well. We've seen Antonio come through a couple times. Shout out to you, brother, for stopping through. And also we got my guy Mike who has a show on Facebook. That's the Chicago Hellas Hall Report. You're seeing not just myself, but other members of his show come on to the podcast, which is Woody and Ken. So, Mike, appreciate you stopping by, man. Appreciate everything. So, and again, we had a mod's teammate, Jason, his teammate that came through and stopped by. So we appreciate everybody who stopped by the podcast. We appreciate you guys coming through and either leaving a comment or just watching and leaving a like. We appreciate everything and all of that. So with that being said, I'm just thankful again to be here and to be doing
That's
this. This has been a dream of mine since I was a kid. Believe it or not.
that's what's up.
The fact that I get to come on here and do it the way that I want to do it. This is not no ESPN. This is not, none of that. This is, the Ceejay Scott Podcast, my other podcast shows. So, again, we do it the way that we want to do it. We hope you guys are entertained by the way we're doing it. So hopefully you guys will continue to come back and continue to support the podcast. And another thing, y'all go show some love to the coach. Go show some love to him on his Facebook page, man. Coach, we gotta get you a following, man. We gotta get you some type of following, some type of.
You gotta tackle somebody or something in the
Coach,
video.
you posting,
Well, whatever you gotta do.
pictures and stuff, man. We gotta get you going some type of way.
Hey man,
Something.
I've had the only
Put
attention.
your 40 up there. No,
I ain't
Coach,
gonna
put your
lie,
40 up there.
the only the only attention I got from Facebook recently, and I regret doing this. So I don't know why, but I was at the clinic and I must have not been thinking straight. My executive chef, he friend requested me, and typically I don't friend request supervisors on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So I accepted it, and I get a call less than 24 hours later about a post I made about maybe you should think about taking that down. I was just like,
I saw you post that on your wall too.
Yeah,
On your post, I think I saw your post about that.
a couple
I was like,
a couple weeks
coach
ago.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't even think it was that long ago.
If you scroll down, it's a non-podcast related post I made that Sherry that she responded on it.
Yeah,
She responded,
I think I know exactly what that
but
was. So
it wasn't malicious. It was just observing
mm-hmm.
a group of people and how they move around.
I remember now.
How they move in this world and how I would like to
Oh,
see.
it happened at the AAU tournament too. He called the game. I'm an elder, and can you call the game? Yeah, it went up, bro. Yeah, I know that.
Looking through the eyes of another group of people to see how the world works in their visual lens. So I might take it. I'm typically not in the. I'm not in the. I typically don't post things and take them down, but I may.
Sometimes when you have employees or people that you work for that's on your page, probably not the best idea to add them just because for that reason.
I don't know why I did that. I've never done that. I don't know what made me.
I
don't know.
Boy T Nick is on our page. He has yet to inform
That's a little different.
Yeah, it
is. A little different.
Hey, tell Team Nick I only got 270 some people on my friend list. It's quantity over quantity over quantity all the time on my page.
Plus, I'll be quiet on Facebook, man. But I think I may put up a post like maybe once a week. So when you don't post a lot, that algorithm it don't feed to your other friends. So unless you just happen to see something. So
Yeah, but other than that, man, that's about it. I just want to thank everybody and just happy to do another podcast show, episode 16, and we'll have episode 17 coming up next Monday. So
I can't wait, man.
We're gonna be looking forward to that. Hopefully the Bulls can get something together, and hopefully we can get into some Bears conversation. I'm kind of missing, the Bears a little bit, but
hey, Ryan Poles with all of these interviews looking like the single girl out here at this combine, man. Ryan Poles, he out here, man. He like, hey. What we got out here, man? He out here, man. But he out there.
We didn't get into no combine talk, but you know what? The older I get, man, I used to be so fascinated by the combine and everything. But the older I've gotten, it's like it's just it's one tool of many in the selection process of drafting. So, I don't put a great amount of stock in the combine anymore because you still drafting is kind of you testing guys and things based on the tape that they have to match up what you saw in tape or saw in person. Some guys are going to, go up and down the board, but no one's jumping from a 7th round pick to a 1st round pick just because they ran a 4.3. You still got to play football. A 4.3 don't make you a better football player. So,
right.
I got the whole thing about the lineman who ran a 4.8, and they were like, oh, well, he ran a fast 40. That's great at the second level. Then somebody was like, well, they look at the 10-yard split. And I was like, yeah, that's true if the 10-yard split matters for linemen. But what's the correlation of linemen who have been successful based on their 10-yard split And then how about the agility drills? Agility drills matter to me to the movement of a guy as well as no different than the bench press. You can bench the 220 40 times. It don't mean that you can move a motherfucker in front of you.
Right.
That's true. It's like this season is creeping up fast too. I'm like, damn, it's the combine draft already. I'm like, yeah,
next month, the April's the draft. This shit is crazy. I'm like, the combine already?
Yeah,
man. I was like, I just looked up, like, damn.
Yeah, we're gonna be here for it, man. If the Bears had a first round pick, I would do a draft party, but I may just go and join somebody else's draft party. I thought about just doing one in Facebook, just having everybody on there and just watching like I did last year.
I'll probably do what I've been doing lately. But last year was pandemic. I think I took PTO for it, so I might just take PTO for it because I work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I can get up to 7:30. So depending on.
You gotta throw a free agency party, man, because that's where Foles is probably gonna get some value at the.
Well, soon as we gonna have a low lot to talk about once they start signing these free agents. But man,
that's what I'm saying. So I can't wait for all that, man. But other than that, that's gonna be about it. So
Eddie Goldman and some cut. Man. Oh no, man, I'm just getting prepared. Eddie Goldman's gonna be that bad.
Yeah, you kind of.
We're not paying attention to those last comments.
Yeah, we gonna. This person try to get famous.
It's always a troll, man. Where these trolls be coming from?
Get famous on here.
Are those bots?
Oh, what happened? I missed it.
Those got to be bots, man. Because it happens on. Does it happen every show? Because I know on the Tuesday show we would get some bots or some random unsolicited baloney. Do the other shows get below? The end of the show get these.
Only when the show gets attraction. So I know we got quite a bit of viewers on this show.
What did it say though? What did they say?
It's not worth repeating.
Yeah,
I promise you,
man. I'll let you know off the podcast what this person said, but it don't even matter.
No.
Other than that, we about to go ahead and wrap this thing up for myself, for Coach, for Guy. We will see you guys next Monday. Y'all have a good night. We up.
Be safe out there, brothers. Love.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production. We out!